I think I'm live. Oh, God. See, this is what happens when I click stream in OBS and I didn't realize it also starts it on YouTube. Setting up my camera and shit. Oh, that's fucking funny. Hello, everybody. Hello. Wow, we have a lot of people pouring in here. More than I expected. I haven't even tweeted it out yet. Good Lord. About half hour from kickoff. How you guys doing? I do not have a drink today during the game, by the way. I have coffee because I'm trying to stay alert. We got the whiteboard. We got markers. We got stats. We got analytics. We're going to do our best to kind of do our own little mini broadcast, so to speak. So we'll see how we do compared to the NBC crew, which I have no idea who's calling it for NBC. I assume Tirico and Collinsworth, maybe? Probably. So I think NBC only has one game this week, right? Background is elegant. Yeah, we kind of threw this together at the last moment, but I figured, screw it. You know, a lot of you guys are going to be wanting analysis of this game afterward, but I know I'm not doing a film room on it, so if you want to get something out of it that isn't from the podcast, obviously we'll be doing a deep dive on the podcast this coming week, but figured I'd do a little bit of a live breakdown as well, because I know I'm not doing film room for it, so. As for film room topic this week, I am bouncing between, depending on what happens in the Eagles game, might do a Jalen Hurts breakdown, might do a Bears dream offseason, which I've been thinking about doing since they have a shitload of picks and a whole bunch of money. I was thinking about doing an episode solely on what I would do if I was Ryan Poles. A whole bunch of other topics. I mean, I guess I could do Bills-Bengals, but I've done a lot of Bills-Bengals lately, so I don't want to tire you guys out from that, but they're pretty good and entertaining. A lot of options. Hey, Brett, I made my own batch of Cherry Bounce. I bet it was just as alcoholic as mine was. That stuff hits you hard. Because I use straight up Woodford Reserve, double oaked with it. And you're basically just drinking whiskey. And you don't realize you're drinking straight up whiskey. Brett, is the NFL letting you show the game on this stream? Not technically. Like, I'm doing the same thing that I did. If you guys are familiar with the streams that we would do for all the Thursday games over on the Bootleg Football Podcast channel, we did live streams during every single game, and we would just have the score bug. Because as of right now, because YouTube doesn't have the broadcast rights yet, they will have them next year. So what I'm trying to do, my end goal, to kind of give you a little bit of a heads up on what I want the 2023 season to be, is now that YouTube TV is going to have Sunday Ticket, and since I have a relationship with the NFL on the YouTube side as well, what I want to try to turn this channel into is a conduit between the two of them, where I could do my own legit alternate broadcasts with the actual game on. I would have to work out a deal with YouTube. I'd have to work out a deal with the NFL and all of the licensing partners therein, because I know that it's complicated. And in terms of, like, if I was going to have it sponsored, it would have to be a league sponsor, I'm willing to bet. So I couldn't just do any company sponsoring it. So it's a whole legal thing that I'm going to have to figure out this summer. But that's what I want to do. That's my goal next season, is to do my own legitimate Sunday broadcast. And then I still want on Bootleg, because the Thursday night broadcast went wonderful, I want to do the TNF broadcasts as well for Bootleg, but that's going to be on Amazon. And so I need to work out a deal with Amazon, and me and EJ tried to get that done, but there was some back-end things on the Amazon side that things just didn't work out this year. We're hoping to get it to work out next year. So ideally, still love Bootleg Thursdays. Sundays, do something here. Figuring it out as we go. But the new media landscape in football, we're all winging it at this point. Everybody wants more content, and so they're not going to turn it down for that. It's more so, how do we do it legally is the key. All right. By the way, if you missed my tweet earlier this week, up in your right side, my left side, is going to be the underdog entry that I have for this game. based on, again, if you listen to the bootleg episode leading up to this game where we broke down all the different, schematic matchups and how the Chiefs run their defense, how the Jags run their offense. We did like 25 minutes on this game over on the podcast. So if you listen to that, you already know this. But based on all of my study, both statistically and film-wise, that underdog entry over on the right-hand side, Harrison Butker over 1.5 field goals, Kelce over 80.5 receiving because the Jags play a shitload of man coverage and nobody can cover him. I did Lawrence over 1.5 passing touchdowns because that seemed pretty low compared to what we know about how the Jags like to attack defenses like Kansas City that either play a lot of single high man coverage or they play cover 2. The Jags have great answers against both those things. I did Christian Kirk over 65.5 receiving, which was just super low. No idea why it was that low. He went off against them last week. I would imagine they're going to dial up similar stuff for him this game. So that seemed low for him. And then I did Mahomes over 24.5 rushing because, again, the Jags play a lot of man coverage. And if you turn your back on Mahomes, he's going to take off eventually. So I felt pretty good about this slip, so much so that I put 300 down on it, and I insured it, so I only have to hit 4 out of 5. But if I hit 4 out of 5, I win $3,000, and I pay for new bathroom floors. So that's the goal today, folks, is Brett trying to get new bathroom floors. If you want to tail this slip, or if you think I'm an idiot, you want to fade it, promo code Brett over at Underdog. Same deal it's been all year. They'll match your deposit up to $100. You can do for this game, any other game, any sport. They have esports, they have baseball, basketball, whatever. But, yeah, that's the goal today. New floors. Let's see if we can get to some super chats here, since kickoff is still about 25 minutes away. William Weber for $5. It's a damn good day to have a good day and watch some football. Have a day, sir. Divisional round weekend is every year the best games. Every single year, divisional weekend, in terms of just quality of football, divisional round is the best. So I'm psyched for this. I know a lot of people are predicting a blowout. I am not. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think. The 8.5 point spread was dumb, in my opinion. And I think the Jags are here for a reason. So I'm looking forward to a good game. Hendog 1,000 for $10. How much Mahomes would a Mahomes if Mahomes could Mahomes? I have no idea, but thank you for the $10. Thank you for the support. Fuck. It is a Chiefs game on NBC, so you're going to hear Mahomes talked about for 3 hours. Ooh, I should mute this so I don't get sued into oblivion. So up above me, once there actually is a score bug on the screen, which is going to be in a little while, there will be a score bug above me, so you can follow exactly where I'll be at in the game as I'm talking about it. Again, I'll have the whiteboard behind me if something cool happens, so I can break it down on the fly. Connor for 10 pounds. Would you rather fight a Jaguar with the head of Trevor Lawrence or Trevor Lawrence with the head of a Jaguar? Well, Trevor Lawrence is like 6'6" and a freak athlete. And so I feel like also giving him Jaguar jaws, I would just die. Oh, but then again, I mean, Jaguar do have claws. I'm more concerned about the mouth of a Jaguar than anything. So give me Jaguar body, Trevor Lawrence head. And I'll just go for the eyes. Or grab his hair, actually. That's a pretty easy target. Grab his hair. I'm waiting for the day, by the way, when Lawrence takes off on a scramble and gets dragged down by his hair. It's going to happen eventually. It'll be terrifying, but it's going to happen. Find a Cure for $10. What's up, Cure? Starting the night off strong. Another banger from Banger Coleman. Where did that start in the Discord, by the way? I just saw everybody in the Discord spamming that like yesterday, and I have no idea who started that. But thank you. I appreciate that. Put the flag on the whiteboard. I have the flag in my other bedroom. Man, I don't have it in my office right now because I was cleaning out my office today because I'm moving in a little while, and I forgot to bring the flag back in. That's my bad. But I'm streaming again tomorrow, so I'll have the flag up tomorrow. How about that? I'll make you a deal. And I don't know which game I'm streaming. Maybe I'll do both. I could do both, right? It's like a 7-hour stream. If Grassi can do it, I can do it, right? So I'll just do one game today because I have a family thing in the evening that I can't do the Giants game anyway. But yeah, I'll do both tomorrow. Fuck it. Brett, you should do a video on Zach Wilson's struggles. Is there enough time? It's gonna be like an hour long. I mean, where do you even begin? Lack of accuracy, lack of decision making. When he does make a decision, it's usually the wrong one. Horrible under pressure. Runs himself into pressure. I mean, not even counting. There's been discrepancies in reports of what's happening with him, like showing up to meetings and stuff like that. I have no idea. Nor do I care. I care about what happened on the field. What happened on the field was horrible in virtually every way possible. And that would be a very, very, very long film room episode. I can tell you right now. That's probably an off-season one because I don't think he's going to start for them again. It doesn't sound like he will. So I'd have to do like a career retrospective on what went wrong with Zach Wilson. And keep in mind, I had him as QB4 in that class. He was my fourth guy off the board. But I'm not innocent in this because I still had him going fourth overall. I had 4 quarterbacks going back-to-back in the top 4. So even though I had him as QB4, I still had him as a top 4 pick. So I was also wrong about him. And it will take me a while to dive in to figure out what the hell was happening there. Because they had weapons. For a time, they had a run game. They had a great defense. Like, the structure was there. Just didn't work. So it's not an easy answer for sure. Thoughts on Pollard in the pass game against the 49ers? Are you talking like as a protector or as a receiver? As a protector, if anything, it's probably just going to be a lot of chip duty on Bosa. As a receiver, based on a lot of the coverages they run, I don't think he'll be matched up with Fred Warner all that often. So it'll be him, and then depending on if they're in middle field close or middle field open, I would guess Talanoa Hufanga is going to be on covering Pollard in space duty, which is an interesting matchup because Hufanga has had some tackling struggles this year. So if there's hay to be made, maybe they think they can get him loose in space there. But I don't think we'll see a whole lot of Fred Warner against Pollard through the air, obviously in the ground a lot. Oh, Bengal's here. What's up, Bengal? Bengal, we still got to figure out if we're going to Bryant-Denny next season for Texas Bama Part 2. Because the tickets for Bama, for those who don't know in chat, the tickets for Bama at DKR were like crazy expensive. I have to imagine Texas at Bama is going to be just as expensive. So it's going to be a financial decision just as much as a time one. Right now I'm weighing my options between going to, because I really want to go to Ireland for the Notre Dame game, but that's like right around the same time as Texas Bama, because Texas Bama is like week 2. So it's like back to back. I don't know if I could do both. So I kind of have to pick one and stick with it, but I really want to go to Texas Bama Part 2 because Quinn Ewers was beating that ass in the first half before he got hurt last time, and I kind of want to see him go up against them again. Plus, I think Arch is going to be on the sidelines for that. I think he's enrolling, so that should be fun. So if Ewers gets hurt again, we get to see Arch Manning. That'll be fun. Let me see, catch up on super chats here. Tyler Riley for $5. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate that. And then Cure for another $5. Thank you, Cure, once again. Brett, where's your team pride? You are missing a jersey, it seems. I wanted to wear it today, but I accidentally spilled salsa on my specially made Bill O'Brien Texans jersey. So that is currently in the wash. I apologize. I wore it literally once and got it dirty. That's very predictable for me. You know that. See, GPG 2017 for £5. After what has come out today, if Aaron Rodgers is traded, what teams do you think are a viable what came out today? I've been busy on my bathroom this morning, so I totally missed the news. Did something happen? I'd love to know if there's an update on Rodgers. I know Packers fans are freaking out about if they're going to let Aaron Jones go or not, but I haven't heard anything about the other Aaron. Greetings from Germany. What do you think about the international games in Germany next year? I would love to go. I know it's possible Chiefs-Bills is in Germany, but I highly doubt it. Or Chiefs-Bengals is in Germany, but I highly doubt it. I think the NFL wants to keep those matchups domestic because they're going to be massive. And I don't think they want anything screwing that over a little bit. I think they'll put more of like a mid-tier matchup internationally. Although Jags, now that they're a good team, every single Jags game in London I think is going to be awesome. But yeah, I don't anticipate we'll get like a Super Bowl contender versus Super Bowl contender. I don't think we'll get that. But I still want to go to the Germany games just because I do think they're going to make a conscientious effort to put good matchups over there to try to grow the game. Just maybe not Chiefs-Bengals, as much as I want it. So Jets games will take over the international games? No, not necessarily, because I don't think they want bad games over there either. I think they want good, solid, like mid-tier games between like good team on good team, not necessarily like top 3 Super Bowl contender versus top 3 Super Bowl contender, because of all of the ramifications of travel and new stadium, new environment. Like there's so many things that go into those games that I think that if something goes wrong, they don't want it to be with Chiefs Bengals, there's a lot of games on the schedule that are supposed to be good that you could sacrifice that isn't like literally maybe one of the most important games of the year, So I don't think we'll get that. Plus, that's a guaranteed sellout for either team, and I think the owners kind of want to keep all the games that are like guaranteed massive moneymakers in their own stadium, because they're going to make a gazillion dollars either way on that game. He was just being cryptic. Yeah, when is Rodgers not being cryptic? That's what he does. That's his whole brand. Oh, I should go full screen. How about that? So in that little score bug above me, once there's actually a score bug, you'll see it. So I'll hide it for now. Oh, nope. There we go. Where is it? Score bug. There we go. The game starts in 15 minutes or so. So report that they are mutually okay with a potential trade. I mean, yeah, I could have told you that. That's not surprising to me at all. The question is, are the Jets trying to court Hackett to try to get Aaron and doing the same thing that the Broncos thought they could do, which was get Aaron through Hackett? Because there's no way they hire Hackett other than if they think they're going to get Aaron, right? So if there's some kind of like backroom deal going on where Aaron says he's okay with the trade and the only place he wants to go is where he knows the OC with Nathaniel Hackett. They do have great weapons there, similar kind of system as it is under LaFleur, same language, good defense. Division's still a meat grinder, but I think Aaron's okay with that. Plus, it's in the AFC, not the NFC, so the Packers are more okay with it because they don't have to see him as often. Yeah, Jets make sense. I wouldn't hire Nathaniel Hackett, but if that's what they got to do to get Aaron, yeah, I could see it. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. K-Rog or K-Raj? Feel free to correct me in the comments on that. I apologize. For $5, thank you for that. Instead of going to Bama, Texas, you should go to El Asico next. Oh, El Asico. You mean the game in Mexico? El Asico. Or you mean El Clasico? So I've always wanted to go to the Mexico City game too, but it kind of depends on what part of the year it is. Because if I go to Mexico City, I kind of want to tie it in with because I've been to Mexico. I live in California, so I go to Mexico all the time. But I've never been to Mexico City during Dia de los Muertos, and I want to go during that. So if the NFL game is around Dia de los Muertos, I'm there. Sign me up. But there's only so many games I can go to between Germany. I want to fit in London. Obviously my usual stops in Dallas. I want to do Buffalo every year. I still got to go to Arrowhead for a game. Going up to Seattle every year. Like there's a lot of different places I want to go to, but Mexico City's timed well. Yeah, I'd love to go. Curtis Rodgers for $5. Ravens looking into the Seahawks QB coach Dave Canales for OC. Thoughts? I mean, I'm not entirely sure how much impact he had on the calling of the offense, but I do know that he did damn good work with Geno Smith. So if the Ravens feel like he can come in there and, help Lamar take yet another step from being, MVP Lamar to, MVP Lamar that's trading haymakers with Burrow and Mahomes, then yeah, sure, I'm all for it. I know he's a good quarterbacks coach. As far as play caller, totally different skill set. I guess we just have to see. But I'm not opposed to them looking into it, that's for sure. Because he did a wonderful job with Geno Smith. Absolutely wonderful job. How did the 49ers lose against the Cowboys, in your opinion? So, again, I went into this on the podcast this week over on the Bootleg Football Podcast channel. My plan, if I was Dan Quinn with the Cowboys, and this is tough, this is a lot of projection, because remember, the Cowboys have only seen 4 snaps of two-back with a fullback the entire year, and they were all against the Bears. Kari Blasingame's the only fullback they've seen. So it's tough to see what their actual plan is against two-back, but considering the 49ers run so much two-back, and they're about 37% outside zone, which is 4th most in the league, they run a lot of outside zone, a lot of two-back. Dallas needs a plan for that. My plan is you go a 5-man surface on the line of scrimmage out of base. So you got either you'll probably put like a 280-pounder as like a 6-tech over Kittle. You'll do a 3-tech, shade nose, backside 5. And then I want Micah, not strong side. I want Micah weak side as like a ghost 9 coming off the backside edge. And I want his one job to be go after Purdy. Run or pass. Go after Purdy. Because Purdy is so quick. He's got a 1.55 10-yard split. Remember that. He is so quick that a lot of guys that you send after him on boot plays, he gets out of the sack, and then he resets and makes the run downfield. I want our best athlete on Purdy duty in space. And if that opens up a couple cutback lanes for CMC every now and then on outside zone, because our safety doesn't get downhill quick enough or our linebackers don't fall back quick enough, fine. I'm willing to live with that. I'm not willing to live with Purdy being able to throw all day to Ayuk or Kittle or whoever off boots and getting 30 yards for free. So 5-man surface, linebackers that are ready to fall back because they know the cutback lane is going to be open, because I want Micah just screaming into the backfield only after Purdy. Don't worry about CMC. And if we can take away the boot game and at least be okay against the run otherwise, I think they can win the game. But they have to take away the boot pass game, because that's what gives Purdy a lot of opportunities to attack down the field. And if Mike is in his face all day, it's not going to happen. So that's my plan. Whether they actually do that or not, I have no idea. We'll see. But if I was Dan Quinn, that's what I would do. Harrison Lynn for $10. Thank you, Harrison. Rodgers and Favre's careers are scary similar. Win a Super Bowl early, followed by years of playoff heartbreak, drama queens in later years, last pass attempts as a pack, game-losing INT, and then get traded. Yeah, time is a flat circle. Funny how that works. And I think they're both prickly in their own ways, to put it as nicely as I possibly can. And I'm very curious to see the era of the Packers without an elite quarterback that can get away with murder because they're an elite quarterback. I'm very curious to see how they handle having to build the rest of the roster around even just a good quarterback, just not a top 3 quarterback, because they've always had so many holes covered up by their quarterbacks since literally I was born in the early 90s. This is going to be the first time in my entire life where they're going to have to kind of be a perfect team around an imperfect QB situation. And I have no idea how they're going to handle that. And I'm fascinated by it. Doesn't mean they can't do it, but they've never had to do it before, at least in 30-something years at this point. Let's see. Michael for $4.99. Thank you, Michael. Just listen to the podcast. Any particular reason no Dallas Goedert on the slip? I can't remember what number it was that he was at off the top of my head. So the thing with the Goedert matchup against the Giants is I kind of feel like in terms of how the Eagles offense matches up against the Giants, it's going to be a very similar thing to what we normally see against teams that the Eagles outclass up front. And I'm not talking individually. Dexter Lawrence is phenomenal, but I'm talking about the rest of the defensive front. I do think that the Eagles have a pretty significant size advantage there. And I think that we saw that play out in the first matchup where Miles Sanders just obliterated them because the Eagles offensive line is overwhelmingly powerful and Dexter Lawrence can only do so much, right? And so I kind of feel like the Eagles offense is going to run through Sanders again. And then off of that, when you have to drop down that extra body and you can't play cover 2 to take away those go routes down the sideline, and you have to play middle field close coverages, then I think we're going to see a lot of A.J. Brown, getting those one-on-ones, and Jalen's one of the best fade ball throwers in the league right now. So I feel like it's not that Goddard doesn't have a good matchup. It's just I feel like in terms of how the overall Eagles matchup works against the Giants defense, it's going to be run, shot to AJ, run. That's my general feeling on it. Could very easily be wrong. Because the Eagles offense is so multifaceted, but I was just kind of going off of what happened last time, and that's how I kind of feel like that might play out again. Michael Holmes for $5. What do you think about the under 52 Jags at Kate? Under 52? That's a little bit lower than I expected. So what? It's like... I would probably take the over on that. Because I know Mahomes is going to get his, especially with all the man coverage and all the fire zones that Jacksonville brings. Like, there's going to be space for him and Kelce to eat. And I think that the Jags offense matches up better against the KC defense than people think. So, yeah, I would take over on 52. I'm surprised it's that low. I would have expected somewhere around like 56, 57. Now, I don't think it's going to like blow away the over, but if I had to go one way, I'll lean towards the offense here. Cam C for $2. Do you think UGA three-peats? Thanks for the great vids. It's hard to three-peat. Especially in the SEC. And they, even Bama, for as great as they are and as many 5 stars as they get, when all of them are constantly going to the NFL, eventually you're going to have a slight down year, and this was a slight down year for Bama where they didn't make the playoffs. They were still one of the best teams in the country, but didn't make the playoffs. I could potentially see that for Georgia because over the last couple of years, they've lost like 15 guys in that defense in the NFL. They've lost some offensive talent. They still have the one tight end who's just incredible. Darnell's coming out, but the other one, I can't remember his name. He's incredible. But there has been a significant talent drain, and as many 5 stars as they get, it's still tough to replace NFL players with NFL players year after year after year at the college level. Not even Bama does it that much. So, like, 2-peat, awesome. 3-peat, it's tough. And I don't anticipate they will. Doesn't mean that they won't make the playoffs. Doesn't mean that they won't, be a top 10 team. They probably will. But from a recruiting standpoint, especially now that NIL and the transfer portal is a thing, it is hard to have that level of of baseline talent on your roster year after year after year. It's really, really hard. Probably now more than ever. Plus, they're in the SEC. Like, LSU's going to get kids. Bama's going to get kids. Tennessee's going to get kids. It's tough to maintain that. Unless you have a billionaire just paying every single kid. But we'll let Texas do that. Big fat for $5. Instead of going to Ireland or Texas, Bama, you should come to my house and give me a highly detailed retrospective on Vinny Testaverde's career. Thanks. Oh, God. Well, if a video about that would make enough money to cover an Ireland trip, I think I would do that. I don't know how many people out there want a Vinny Testaverde video. Maybe I could make one eventually. Actually, you know what? That would probably be something I'd put on the NFL channel. I would probably have the NFL folks track down Vinny Testaverde film, and we do like a June Vinny Testaverde breakdown for all the addicts that can't get through summer without football content. It's so random. Jack Hunter. What's up, Jack? Has the league kind of switched off to Andy Reid disciples? Just 2 years ago, Dave Tube and Bieniemy were in for every job. Now it seems that's past. I don't know if I would say they've switched off of the Andy Reid tree. I don't entirely know what's going on with Bieniemy because he's had a whole bunch of interviews. From what I've heard, the interviews, at least in 3 of those places, did not go well. I don't have any context as for why or what happened or what was said. Or when I say go well, it doesn't mean that like they didn't like him. Maybe they just had a different vision for what the team and the organization would be run like, and they decided it wasn't a good fit. All I know is that at least at 3 of those places, the interviews, it was decided whether mutually or otherwise that it wasn't a good fit, and I don't have any context beyond that. He's still getting interviews now. He got interviews this cycle, so it's not like, people are not interested in him at all. And I wish that I had more context for what's happening, but that being said, I'm not a news guy, so even if I had more context, I probably wouldn't say it because I'm not a guy that breaks stories like that, But I'm being truthful with you now. I have no idea what the issue is. I just know that there is some reason why those interviews did not go well. And maybe we'll never know. Brees Hall and Oates, elite fantasy team name, by the way. Brees Hall and Oates. $5. How much of a drop-off do you think there is between Bryce Young and Stroud? I'm not totally convinced there is one. And I do not have final grades on any of these top 5-6 quarterbacks yet. I did see Young live in DKR in Austin, and he was ice cold. As he usually is. And I remember seeing him live in high school because he went to the same high school I did. So I would watch him regularly. And he's always been just a fucking Terminator. He's always been unflappable in the face of pressure. The one concern, which is not arm, it's not mobility, it's not decision-making. He has everything you want. The one concern is size. He is a, relatively speaking, small human being on a football field. Even at the college level, let alone at the pro level. And there is no comparison other than maybe Kyler. Maybe, but Kyler is thicker. There's no comparison that I can think of a quarterback his size working in the NFL, or at least lasting long against the contact he's going to face. So it's one of those things where it's like everything on film is amazing. You're just worried about the size. And then Stroud also has incredible film, but is bigger. So I do not know if there is a drop-off at this moment because GMs care about size. They care about durability, in an age where if you don't have your franchise quarterback, you lose games, a la Baltimore, a la Buffalo. Durability is key. Like they want their guys to be on the field. So, like if I had to guess right now, I'd probably say Stroud goes ahead of him. Just because of the size thing. It doesn't mean that he's not a great quarterback. It's just something that GMs care about. But I'll have like rankings probably done for all the quarterbacks sometime around March, I would say, to kind of put my thoughts in a more articulate manner, so to speak. All right, game's about to start here, so I put up the score bug. Let's see. Alan for $5. I'm kind of confused on why the Dolphins let go of their DC. Am I the only one? From what I understand, he put DBs in a very tough spot in terms of how aggressive he was and how little help he gave to the DBs schematically. Like, they were basically out on islands all the time. And once offenses figured out how to block up their pressures, specifically their zero pressures, and the DBs were like squatting on stuff underneath because they expected the pressure to get home, and then it didn't. The DBs were basically put in impossible no-win situations. And I think they want to go with a coordinator that is a little bit more DB friendly, so to speak. Like, let's play some cover 3 every now and then. that's how I see it. Not that he's not a good coach or a good coordinator. It's just I think they want to kind of dial back the aggression and maybe go a little bit more bend but don't break style. Same thing that happened in Detroit. They called zero like 10% of the time in Detroit, which is a fucking lot, leading up to the firing of their DB coach. And then they got more conservative on defense. Didn't call zero as much, called it at like 1% rate. And all of a sudden, magically, their defense got better. Who knew? All right, game started here. See what we got. Chiefs play predominantly middle field open structures on first down. If they do go middle field close, it'll be man coverage. I see closed here. Nope, maybe quarters. And we got a drop on first play. Wonderful. Let me go up to my second tab here. I'll pull up the exact percentages so I'm not just talking out my ass here. Because I always like to give you guys exact data for what coverages we might potentially be seeing here. Second and 10. I would imagine we're going to get cover 2 from KC here. They major in it more than almost anybody else in obvious passing downs. We got 4 strong to the field. Yeah, little flare screen. Doug Peterson's staple when they just need to get free yards is we're going to line up 4 strong, which means trips, and then the running back on the same side as trips. So you get 4 receiving threats to the passing strength, 4 strong. And then they basically just turn it into a run play outside where they can get even numbers outside, and it's just a run play with extra steps, a little flare screen. And, if you can get 5 or 6 yards out of it, they'll take that all day because that sets up third and 4. Third and 4. Man coverage down for KC. We'll see how aggressively they play it, whether they bring pressure or not. Not sure they will. Oh, they did. They brought 5. Trevor got out of it. Whew, God, almost threw a pick, too. Great fire zone call, bringing L'Jarius Sneed off the edge there. He did a good job not showing it. They looked like they were just rushing 4, and then... oh, no, that wasn't Sneed. That was Willie Gay. I could have sworn that was Sneed. Either way, great job not showing it, not tipping his hand. He looked like he was in coverage all the way, and then just came last minute. All right, good 3 and out early for KC. Would have loved a little bit better camera work on that second down play, but it's all right. We'll live with it. All right, let me pull up exact coverage data here while we have a little break in the action. Chiefs and Jaguars. And if you're wondering where I get these numbers from, I have because of my partnership with the league, they gave me access to a very fun little database. Oh man, did they run speed option on first down? How about that? Kind of a gutsy call out of Jumbo Wing there. Oh, no, that wasn't Jumbo Wing. It was Double Wing. I thought that was an extra tackle. All right, another 4-strong look here from KC. Let's see what we get. Play action. Nobody's running the ball today yet at all. Easy yards. 2nd and 3. We'll see if they pace it up a little bit here since they're still in the script. No, they're going to huddle. All right, so 2nd and 3. I would imagine there's going to be man coverage down for the Jags. About 25% man. Sounds right. 2x2. Nobody followed. That's zone. Oh my God, how did Pat get that throw? Did he jump and then throw it? Watch him work in this messy pocket. Oh my God. How did he even see that? He blows me away every single week. How do you throw that? What the hell? The mechanics on that don't even make sense. Oh my God. He's incredible. He really is. That's just not even fair. Like, you literally can't even defend that. Like, you just can't. Like, he's sacked, and then he just jumps and, like, completely contorts his body. I mean, come on. Whew. And then the arm slot. So he looked to the flat and then came back to the bender and threw its sidearm around the... I mean, God. He's on one today. Watch this. Looks it off, sidearm, around the defender. That's a pitcher throwing out a guy who's taking a really aggressive lead on third. That's what that is. Tony refusing to be tackled. Par for the course. All right, 2nd and 1. I'm feeling shot here. Give me a double call. So we got a shot play. If that doesn't work, you do a quick line up and snap it because we're less than a yard from moving the sticks. So give me a double call. What do we got here? So motioning into... Nope. Going back out of 4 strong, back into 2x2. Interesting that they ran it there. I would have... Because your high red zone, you kind of got nothing to lose. You're technically 4 down territory. I would have liked to see them be a little bit more aggressive there, but it's all right. All right, so we're barely inside the 20. This is probably quarters all the way for Jacksonville, this area of the field. And we got a timeout. Kelce already at 21. Like I said, dude, 80 was super low on him for this slip. Penalty on Jacksonville? Went with Kelce over 6.5 receptions instead of yards. Either one works. Either one works, man. This is the type of defense that Kelce eats alive because it's a lot of man coverage, a lot of cover 3, a lot of fire zone. This is the type of stuff that he just feasts on. So you couldn't have gone wrong either way. All right, so we are 1st and 10. I can't see what yardage we're at. All right. Still high red zone. Still probably quarters based on pre-snap look. Let's see what they do. And a little throwaway. See, what I really want is live all 22. And right now I think the only network that does it is Amazon. I would love for all these networks to do live 22 because I can't see what the fuck's going on in the back end. Like, I know it's quarters, but I didn't see what kind of quarters. Is it stump? Is it stubby? Is it pote? Like, what, Like, that angle told me nothing. So I'm going to have to look at that on all 22 tonight. All right, little tight bunch here. So they love to go 4 strong and then run inside zone away from it. Like, they really love to try to kind of hold as many defenders over the bunch as they can and then run the other direction out of it on inside zone. It's kind of one of the staples I've seen from them this year. And it's from all personnel groupings, really all of them, is those 4 strong runs. All right, McKinnon in the red zone. Whoever has McKinnon anytime touchdown, this down's for you. Oh, they get him. Kelce again. Fuck. I'm telling you, dude. This is his kind of game. Great throw from Pat, too. And that kind of looked a little bit improv as well. Like when Kelce turned around and looked, and then he saw Pat moving to his left. Kelce kind of does that. Whichever direction Pat's running, he runs the other direction because he just expects Mahomes to be able to get it to him at the most awkward possible angle, and it always works. So we got Jenkins on Kelce matched up man-to-man in the red zone. I don't hate the try on the fade considering the size mismatch, but Jenkins is a feisty little guy. Not little, actually. He's pretty big for a DB, but he is feisty. So I don't dislike that matchup for Jacksonville. Who do you like as the Vikings' next defensive coordinator? I'll answer that right after this. All right, another 13 personnel bunch. And Kelce touchdown. He might already be almost at the over, like one drive into the game. And that is why we take Kelce in playoff games. It's easy money. Easy money. He's going to get 15 catches today. I swear to God. Oh, man. And just look at that little delay. Like, you kind of fake the block. You know, you wait for Mahomes to be rolling out because you know the defense is going to flow with it. And then you just sit there. You wait. You wait for the defense to flow past you because he trusts Mahomes is going to throw crossbody and get it to him. They've done this for like 5 years now. Is Mahomes moving to his right or to his left, and Kelce just sitting in the middle of the field and not flowing with him because Mahomes is able to throw at angles that everybody else can't. And it's impossible to stop, I swear. All right, let's catch up on Super Chats here in commercial break. Mahomes has 10-inch hands like Josh, A-Rod, Russ, Stafford, and Justin Herbert. Thank you, Siddhartha. Appreciate that. Think there's something to QB hand size as a threshold, Joe Burrow aside. I think there is something to it, but not as much as people think. You know, like as long as you're like 9 and a quarter, somewhere in that general vicinity where like you can get enough rotational velocity. Because when you have longer fingers, and you have a longer, contact surface on the ball, it helps to generate rotational velocity. Like the longer your fingers are, the more rotation you get on the ball, the more velocity on the rotation, just because there's more surface area for a longer amount of time. And so when you come down on it, it's just kind of like throwing a breaking ball. Like bigger hands throw better breaking balls, because more surface area equals more rotation, and more rotation equals generally more velocity, being able to cut through the wind, all that type of stuff. So larger hands help with that. Larger hands, I would also say, help with, if the ball's getting smacked in your hand, maybe you don't fumble as much. But is it that big of a difference where, like, I'm not drafting anybody with under 9.5-inch hands? Probably not. Like it's a thing, but it's not the only thing. And I think sometimes people overblow it a little bit. I'm not saying it's not, it doesn't exist, but so then would finger size matter more? Or I think finger size is hand size, because generally when you measure hand size, like people's palms are pretty much the same. It's the finger size off of the palm that can be a differentiator. Like palm size, there's a lot less variation than finger size if we're talking about, people just winning the genetic lottery. So like finger size to me is hand size. All right, let's see here. Other super chats. Dylan for $6. Thank you, Dylan. I'm a Dolphins and Tua fan. I am realistic about his injury status and glad he didn't play in the playoffs. What should the team do at QB this offseason? I anticipate they're going to keep Tua. I don't know what's going on with this whole Brady thing. I'm still not convinced Brady's leaving. Like, it sounds kind of like it, but I'm not. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. And if he's going anywhere, I think it would be with the Raiders with Josh McDaniels, just because he and Josh are close. Oh, God, Agnew's going. He's not going to get all the way, but he's going to set him up in great field position. Those Chiefs special teams, man, I warned you. The Chiefs special teams can lose them this game. I tried to tell you. Like, if there was any weakness for the Jags to take advantage of, it's this god-awful special teams unit. They're horrible. The only reason they lost to the Colts is because of special teams. As for what the Dolphins should do at QB this offseason, I would say stick with Tua if Tua is healthy. That is a big, big caveat. If he's not healthy, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I don't know what his status is, but if Tua is ready and able and willing to play, then yeah, I would go with Tua. Bros show the game, not you. Would you like me to get sued? Do you understand how rights work? Like broadcast rights? Can't show the game, bud. Not allowed. So I can show the scoreboard, and I can talk along to it, but I can't show the game lest the NFL sue me out of existence. Bye? Yeah, bye. Have fun. Go watch something else. Do people understand that, like, lawyers exist? What do you want me to do? Hey, Brett, sacrifice your career so I can watch the game that I can very easily put on my TV. Yeah, okay. All right. Another flare screen from the Jags. Agnew getting work early. 3rd and short. Let me pull up coverage here. I would imagine we're going to get pretty heavily. Chiefs are a 25% cover 1 on 3rd and short. That's interesting. I thought it would be more than that. I don't have front data up right now. I would imagine they're going to be probably a 5-man surface here. No, 4-man. Against this look, I don't like this look from KC. There it is. Yep. That was a really bad front for them to be in. I don't know why they called that. They left a massive, massive bubble in the front. Look at that. They're way overplaying the sneak. Yikes. Did they learn nothing from last week? Like, they ran a sweep on 4th and short. Like, you think they're just going to sneak it every down? Hell no. Come on, Spags. You know better than that. Ooh. Double lead out of, like, full house? That's a fun little run. We can see some footage. Well, I mean, you can see the when the score bug isn't up there. Yeah, a little bit. It's one of those, like, I can show the score bug, but I can't show anything else, you know? So we're in the red zone here, mid-red zone. Rail route. And you got it. Who is that? Christian Kirk. What did I say? What did I say? Doug was going to scheme up stuff for Kirk, just like he did last game. Put him in the backfield. If we're getting middle field closed, so I think it's a man coverage look here. So we're getting Nick Bolton. No, they peeled the edge. Oh, God. Why are you peeling the edge against a receiver in the backfield? What are you doing? I thought it was a linebacker. They put Karlaftis on a peel alert when there's a receiver in the backfield? The fuck are we doing? Check out of it. What are we doing? Come on now. I mean, okay, I need to find that clip so I can draw it up for you guys, because that was dumb. There is no way. So when a receiver's in the backfield, your radar needs to be up, because they're not putting him in there unless there's a reason. If there is ever a scenario where you can get a 270-pound edge on a receiver, you need to check out of it. Let me get the exact play so I can draw that up for you guys, because that was some bullshit. If I can get to the Jaguars Twitter account, there we go. So we got, what were they in? I think that was trips, right? Yeah, no, trips to the field with quarters. That looks like quarters to me. All right, let's draw this up, fam. See, it's tough to do this with a broadcast angle, but we're going to try. We're going to try, okay? All right. So where am I at here? So we got the Y, X, zebra, and then I think we had the Z over here, if I recall correctly. And then quarterback. Oh no, Kirk was the Z. That's what it was. So I think this is how it was, if I recall correctly. So we got corner, safety, corner, and then we had edge, we had 3, nose, edge, no, it was like this. And then we had, so if you're in quarters, right? So he's here, he's here, he's here. And then usually I would imagine like they're playing a potential like inside zone call here on the opposite side. So that's why they're kind of lined up this way. And so if this was an actual running back instead of this, and he's got inside zone, you can kind of flow to it, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure why, if you're isolating him, if you get a fast 3 to the flat on a rail. I don't know why it wasn't the linebacker going out with him, and instead they peel alert the edge. Why are we peel alerting on this when it's a receiver? Absolutely not. Like, if you get fast 3, like, maybe they were bringing a pressure, but if you're bringing a pressure where the edge is peel alert, I'm sorry, not even a fast 3, a fast 2. If you're bringing a pressure here where your edge is peel alert, but the peel is on a receiver, you should immediately check out of that. So whoever's got the green dot, fucked up. Real bad. Real bad. Cost him a touchdown. Not entirely on Spags, but Spags needs to get on whoever is running the dot there of like, hey, receiver in the backfield, let's call something a little bit more conservative. That was horrible. That was horrible. Bad defense. We don't like bad defense, chat. See how the Chiefs answer. I'm feeling pretty good about saying the over on 52, by the way. Devin Lloyd just fighting for his life out there. Good Lord. All right, a little bubble outside if we're getting 2-on-2. Get 6 yards out of it. Easy money. Good call. Would like to see some T-Law runs this Saturday afternoon. I bet they're coming. Probably some zone read in short yardage, I would imagine, because they'll do some zone read in short yardage out of the gun. If they're under center, obviously not, but if we see gun in short yardage, I would not be shocked if we get some zone read from T-Law. Well, I think you hit your over on Kelce catches already, whoever had that at 6.5. I'm pretty sure he just hit it. Brett, would you ever do a video on how we can recognize certain coverages? First of all, yes. Second of all, wonderful book by my friend and somebody who's taught me a lot, Cameron Soren, Pass Coverage Glossary. I plug this at every chance I get. So it's got, rules and write-ups for every single coverage you can think of, or at least everyone that you would need to know, how they handle certain stuff, switches, how they line up, everything like that. Pass Coverage Glossary, Cameron Soren. Can't recommend it enough. Great book. Wonderful book. And once you get this, you can start to understand all the other adjustments that different defenses make, because this is all just like, the base layer of here's what every defense on earth runs in some way. Is that Roy Robertson Harris, 95? Wrecking shop again? He's had a wonderful, wonderful year, Roy Robinson Harris. They miss him in Chicago. He's great. On YouTube, the QB School. QB School is a fantastic channel. JT has more football knowledge in his pinky than I do in my entire body. QB School is one of the best channels out there by far for anything football. He's awesome. Oh, God, is Pat hurt? Oh, no. Shit. What happened? Oh, landed right on his ankle. Oh. Oh, God. Oh. That's a sprain at least. Oh, God. Pat. Or is he holding his knee? I think it's ankle. Oh, not like this. Oh, come on, bud. Yeah, he's getting taped. He wants to go back in. He's getting taped. What? Or he's going back in now? Adrenaline's a hell of a drug, folks. God. I mean, come on. Oh, man. All right. From a Jacksonville perspective, send it. Send it now. Because he's not going to get out of it. He can't run. You got to send it. Oh, they're just running. They're just running. All right, so 3rd and 2. Do they dare run again? Again, if I'm Jacksonville, blitz. Play the run on the way to the quarterback. Send it. God, he can't even get the handoff off without limping. All right, so if total mind games here, if you know that he's limping, that takes some runs out of the equation. You're not going to get speed option. You're not going to get outside zone because he can't move. Oh, they're calling it out. Okay, so maybe inside zone here. I don't know if he got there. But there's some runs that require the quarterback to move. You're not booting off of anything. You're not calling outside zone. You're not calling option. You're definitely not calling a sneak. Not that they sneak him anyway, but they got the first down. Are they just going to run? He can't move. God. I'm worried about him now. But it has to be like 3-step game. He can't drop either. Has to be 3-step game. So all the DBs have to squeeze now. It's going to be short. They're not doing any 5 or 7-step. Yeah, he's coming off. He knows he can't do it. Fuck. So they got him to the end of the quarter, and he's going to get it taped during the quarter break. What a warrior. But, I mean, the playbook is so heavily constrained when your quarterback can't move. So heavily constrained. What a warrior. Oh, but I'm sick to my stomach if that's a bad injury. That's not what we want to see, you know. We want to see great quarterbacks go blow for blow. I'm going to be devastated if he's out. All right, let's catch up on some super chats. Yako Warner for $10. My wife caught COVID and I haven't left my house in a week. I'm missing a watch party with home smoked wings and brisket. Oh, this live stream is really helping with the FOMO. Please don't curse my birds. Man, smoked wings and brisket, there's really nothing that beats that. I'm sorry you got to miss out on that, but we'll do our best to make it up to you with a good live stream today. That sounds like good food, though. I'm not going to lie. Hope your wife is doing okay, by the way. I know COVID's still no joke, man. I mean, I had a friend who caught it last month and was just down for the count for like 5 days, so it still fucks you up. I get that. JJ for $2. High ankle sprain. Maybe that's like the easiest one I can think of. You know, somebody was bringing up with his fibula or his knee. Possible. It kind of seemed like ankle to me, but we don't know. It's his whole lower leg got crunched, so it could be anything. Let me see. I know there were some other super chats that I missed. Please drop them again in chat if I missed yours. I apologize. You don't need to. Don't pay me extra. I'm the one who missed it. But unfortunately, on the YouTube live stream interface, I can only scroll up so far, and chat is vicious today. So not vicious, voracious. There we go. So I can't get all the way up. R.I.P. your slip, man. First of all, yes. Second of all, definitely not the important part here because I want Mahomes to be okay. Third of all, I did do insurance. So I only need to hit 4 out of 5 for what it's worth. And I'll still get paid out. And this is why we do insurance, because you never know what's going to happen. All right, they're taping the ankle. But yeah, he ain't running for 24. He's not running for 25 yards. Not on a bad ankle. So that one's out, which means I still need to hit Christian Kirk for like another 50 yards. Lawrence for another passing touchdown. Kelce's almost all the way there. And then I need a couple field goals from Butker. Oh, Kelce's halfway there, I should say. God bless you, Pat, for playing through it, though. My God. Brett, would you want to be a head coach someday? Absolutely not. For reasons beyond just I'm not smart enough to do it. The hours that those guys work, I work a lot of hours, all right? I work a lot of hours. Nothing compared to a football coach. It's insane how much they work. It's like 100 hours a week during the season. I would die. I would drop dead. It looks like the ball just slipped out of Mahomes' hands. I think they're going to call that an incompletion, not a fumble. His hand was coming forward. I'd be shocked if they call that a fumble. Yeah, I think that's incomplete, right? I mean, it looked like he was gripping it to try to bring it back like it was a pump, and then it just came out. All right, Harrison Butker, 50-yard field goal attempt. Remember, we need 2 of these, so as long as he makes this one, we're halfway there. All right, 1 down, 1 to go. Isolated fibula FX pronation abduction mechanism. I know some of those words. That sounds like a lot of medical speak. I'm not sure what it means, but I trust you. Whatever medical discipline you have, I trust you. Monophthalmos. Hope I got that correct. Asked by a super chat earlier, what would be the worst case scenario for the Bears this offseason? Not being able to be aggressive with their assets. Like, I want them to go trade for T. Higgins because we know the T. Higgins contract battle is going to be nuts in Cincy. So I want them to get ahead of that and go trade for T. Higgins, which I think the Bengals would do because they kind of have a policy where other than quarterback, they do not pay guaranteed dollars past the first year of the extension. And if anybody's going to break that rule, it's going to be Jamar. They're not going to do it for Jamar and T. I'd be very surprised if they did because they're going to do it for Burrow. It's going to cost a gazillion dollars. They're going to do it for Jamar the year after. I think that they get ahead of it and trade T and then try to replace T in the draft with like Jordan Addison or something. So get a true number 1 for Fields with that draft capital. Use the cap space to pay him a ridiculous amount of money, which he deserves. And if they don't do that, that's what I consider the worst case scenario because they have the capability to do it. And if they do not follow through on that, that is bad. And they have no excuse not to. So, and it's not just T, it's also like, you know, using the assets to improve the interior offensive line, get yourself a 3-tech, you know, at the top of the draft with Jalen Carter, like trade down within the top 4, like, you know, trade down with the Colts if they want Stroud, get yourself Jalen Carter or Will Anderson at 4, you know, collect an extra haul of draft picks, which you can use to replenish yourself for the T. Higgins thing. Like, there's so many ways to do this offseason that involve drastically improving the roster while also being aggressive. And I think the only worst case scenario is if they're not aggressive and they're passive and they let this opportunity pass. Like that's worst case scenario to me. All right, coming back here. Alex Trace for $2. If Mahomes is out, can they beat them with Henne is what I assume you're trying to say. I mean, the Chiefs are still an amazing roster. Yeah, they could still win with Chad Henne. It's a lot harder, though. A lot harder. And it seems like Mahomes is going to play. Seems like it, at least. But we'll see. Jags money line went from plus 380 to plus 190. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, they just showed a great replay of why Mahomes pumped it. Little robber sitting there in the middle of the field. At least he didn't throw a pick. Who's your favorite for the Texans job? No skin in the game myself, but I like D'Amico Ryans for it. I would also say D'Amico. He's who I want. Now, whether D'Amico wants that job, we'll see. But he has his choice of the pool. All right, Mahomes on the sideline. Looks like he's amped up, like he's ready to go. He's still in this thing. All right, 2nd and 1 here. Do we run it and just keep the chains moving? Yeah, they're just sneaking. Lawrence is like the new Brady. Like, he's so unstoppable in those QB sneaks, man. I guess when you're 6'6", it helps. All right, 1st and 10 here. Looking at, let me pull up the coverage data. Another run. Oh, God. Oh, God. They hit the front side on outside zone. You know how hard that is to do? That's not normal. Oh, but look at that bubble. Looks like Frank Clark jumped inside. Oh, man, they caught him in a slant. That's just rough luck. That's just a poorly timed pressure. I don't mean like poorly timed, like it was a bad call. It's more so they just caught them in. It looked like they were bringing a fire zone where Clark slanted inside and then they had a nickel coming off the edge, if I saw it correctly in that split second, and then they just caught him in it. That's rough. Dougie P's calling himself a game so far, folks. Let's see, field position. All right, in this area of the field, on 1st and 10. Wow, they run a lot of cover 2. The Chiefs do. A lot of cover 2 here, especially against empty. And they call a screen into it. Not a huge fan of that. Favorite for Vikings defensive coordinator? I would be intrigued by Flores there, because I think that, you know, he's still aggressive in the Josh Boyer mold, but like not recklessly so. Let's see here. 2nd and 5. Are they calling holding on the Jag? Kind of feels like it. We saw a flag come out. Let me see. Who else? I know Vic Fangio's probably not going there, because if D'Amico Ryans gets a job, it's already been heavily reported that he and the 49ers are going to do that. So pretty much the only way they get Vic is if D'Amico doesn't take a job somewhere else for whatever reason. And then, you know, Vic's back on the table, but he already does consulting work for the Eagles, which they announced that before the year that he's been on their staff as a consultant, and that's widely known. So, you know, there's also the Gannon factor here, where if Jonathan Gannon takes a head coach job and D'Amico stays in San Francisco, Vic would probably go to Philly, is my guess, because he already works there, you know? But I know a lot of people want Vic Fangio, but I think there's only 2 possible places he goes, and that's the Niners or Philly, depending on which one of them gets a job. Now, if neither of them get a job, then the Vikings are on the table. But a lot has to happen to get there. Oh, Trevor just got smacked by Frank Clark. So if we're looking at 3rd and very long coming up here. See, Chiefs are 37.5% quarters in these situations in the 35-yard line area-ish, between the 30 and the 40 on third and long. 37% quarters is a fuckload. Why is Mahomes angry? Is he going to the locker room? Trevor, get it out. Chad, if you have an update on what's happening with Mahomes, please let me know. JJ for $5. My girlfriend coming over tonight to watch the UFC show, so I'm making smoked pork loin with some fresh-made noodles for mac and cheese. Oof. Oof. Speaking my language. Love it. Super chat from earlier. Should Detroit go after a DB if Carter is not available? I really love the Witherspoon fit that Daniel Jeremiah posited this week. The Witherspoon fit at 6. I think Witherspoon is like classic Dan Campbell kind of guy. He's a DB that will smack the shit out of you. Oh, what a special teams play. Down it at the 1. Chiefs special teams stay losing. Yeah, Mahomes in the locker room. Shit. That's not good. All right, let me see if I can get back up here for more super chats. I think it's an MCL. I've had the same injury. It's playable, but painful. I mean, all of this shit's painful. High ankle sprains hurt like crazy. If you've never had one, I do not wish it upon you. High ankle sprains suck so bad. Let's see. Asked via super chat earlier, what would be the worst case scenario? Oh, I already got that one. Zachy for £5. Thank you, Zachy. Hope you're well. Simpson and Witherspoon to the Lions in the first round equals Lions win the North next year. What are your thoughts on Simpson, by the way? Have not got to Simpson. Have got to Witherspoon. Witherspoon's amazing. As for your point about Lions winning the North next year, I think they already do. I'm already picking. Once Ben Johnson came back, I'm already on the Lions winning the North train. Already there. Way ahead of you on that. Anything that they draft and sign in free agency this year is gravy to me. But if Aaron Rodgers is leaving, the Bears are still in their rebuild. The Vikings, we don't know who their coordinator is going to be. And the Lions, if we're looking at the back half of the year, we're already the best team in the North over that time period. So I was already there once Ben Johnson came back. Everything from here on out, especially if they get Witherspoon, I'm taking them to win the North with a bullet. 100%. Let's see. David for $10. Enjoying the game with a cowboy ribeye steak and a cherry bounce. God bless you. That's a good meal. Not a cheap meal, but a good meal. That's a way to celebrate divisional weekend, that's for sure. Man, I could go for a ribeye right now. I haven't had steak in like a week. But I did make some homemade garlic bread last night. Did a little homemade herb, garlic, compound butter. Did a 4-cheese spread on top. A little bit of red chili flake. Oh, change your life. Garlic bread is simple, but it will change your life. All right. Chiefs from the 2-yard line with Chad Henne. Let's see what they got. Kelce, stacking yards, that's good for us. And stacking catches, that's good for some of you. Brett, please tell me you know who James Droz is. Of course I do. He's all over sports TikTok. It's like the billboard for sports TikTok right now. He's more famous than I am. Well, I'm not famous, but he is. He's legitimately famous. All right, Henny. 2nd and 4. Man coverage down. Oh, they're bringing fire zone off the edge, and they run away from it. Great call from Andy Reid there. or Matt Nagy. I'm not actually sure who's calling the plays for them. I think it's Andy, right? It's either Andy or Matt, one of those two. Or Bieniemy, I guess. They're not very clear on who has what responsibilities for that offense. It kind of seems like a three-headed monster. But the offense is operating. And Pacheco just runs so hard. So hard. That's kind of the... And it's unfortunate for Clyde Edwards-Helaire because once he got into the league, injuries happened, and then he got really sick, and he lost like 35 pounds in his second year, leading up to his second year, and he never got to recover. And so he was way underweight, and then that caused some other issues. And I just don't feel like he ever came back from that. But you can see the difference in the run game when Pacheco's out there just because he's got way more pop than Clyde does. And it's nothing against Clyde. I just think he got derailed by whatever physical issues were happening. Oh, ball in the air. Oh, you got to keep that. Oh, man. That's a rough drop for Oluokun. But, yeah, I mean, sometimes that happens. Like, Clyde was incredible in college. Like, you can't watch Clyde at LSU and not tell me he wasn't incredible. But sometimes you get in the league and you get hurt or you get sick, and it fucks it all up, you know? And for him, it was both. All right, 3rd and 3, too short of a down to run on. Jags bringing heat. I'm not sure if I agree with blitzing Henny as much because I kind of want to force him to sit in there and read it out, you know? Like if you make it easy on him, like you're bringing pressure, then he just has to find space on short yards and you get the ball out immediately before the pressure even gets there. Not sure I 100% agree with that approach. I'd rather trap the quick game, which you know he's going to rely on, and then force him to read everything out while dodging around in a messy pocket and, you know, trust Roy Robinson Harris and Arden Key and all them to get to him. I'm not sure I agree with blitzing, but what do I know? More Kelce yards. We'll take it. 5 yards at a time. We'll take it. Not sure what diagram's going on screen here. It's Collinsworth doing this game, right? Not Dungy? I think it's Collinsworth. All right, 2nd and 6. Jags still showing man coverage, as they do all the time. Oh, big hit on the sweep. Jenkins is everywhere today. He's having himself a game. I know he's giving up catches to Kelce, but he's only giving up 5-yard catches to Kelce, not, 20-yard catches to Kelce. Two very different things. I can live with the 5 yards. Can't live with the 20. Great hit, though, from Oluokun coming to the backside. So we're looking at 3rd and 3. Again, I play cover 2 into this. I play cover 2, and I take away the flats. Force him to sit in there and read it out. Timeout. So if we're looking at coverage data, 3rd and 3 to 4, Jags defense is, what do they play here? 65% man coverage. Holy shit. That might be the highest in the league. 65% in 3rd and short. Oh my God. Okay. We'll see. Jeremy Tinio for $5. Thoughts on D'Amico to the Texans and what will you do with the 2 first rounders? I would love D'Amico to the Texans. Drafted there, captain there, knows the organization. Obviously, there was a little bit of hard feelings on the way out. I'm not sure what they've done to repair those hard feelings. So I think the question is, does D'Amico want to be there? Not do they want D'Amico? We'll see. If D'Amico goes there, I would have to imagine the compensation package will be so ridiculously large that they can't fire him after a year because it would be irresponsibly expensive. Because why would a coach trust them to not fire them after a year at this point, right? It's been 2 in a row. So he will get a bag from them. And he would deserve it. But I would love it personally. I love D'Amico Ryans as a player, as a human, as a coach. I think he's awesome. I would love that. As for what they do with their 2 first rounders, I would imagine all options are on the table at quarterback between Bryce Young. I don't think C.J. Stroud's going there. Not because he's not worth it. More so, I look at who his agent is, which is Deshaun Watson's agent. And I don't think his agent would let CJ go there. I think there is some bad blood there between the agent and the organization. And I feel like that would turn into an Eli Manning situation real fucking quick. So I don't think Stroud is on the table. Young is. Levis, maybe. Maybe they if Stroud is there at 2 and they know they can't take him because he just wouldn't go there, maybe they trade down, collect assets, and do Levis or Richardson or whoever. I could potentially see that happening. The only quarterback I don't think they will take is Stroud because not that Stroud is a bad kid. I just think that the people around him that he works with don't want him in Houston. Based on what we've seen from David Mulligata in the past, I would be surprised if he lets that happen, And it's not without merit. It's not without reason. Like, I get it. I totally get it. But it's part of the business. It is what it is. Roughing the passer on defense. Okay. So Chiefs are still moving the ball here with Henny. They're across midfield now, I think. All right, 1st and 10. Let's see what we got here. All right, 38% cover 3 from the Jags here. Kind of looks like cover 3 to me. And not a great ball. Not a great ball. But that's what I want them to do. I want the Jags to play not conservatively, but, don't make it easy on him with, pressure looks where it's literally just see pressure, throw against pressure. I want them to sit there in cover 3 like that and force him to read it out in the pocket because that's how you're gonna make hay against him, is you force him to actually play quarterback. Because I know he's been around a long time, but he also doesn't have any reps this year, so make him do it all. Don't make it easy on him. Oh, Pacheco. There's that 4.3 speed. I saw that up close and personal at Shrine Bowl, which I'm going to Shrine Bowl again this Friday, but Pacheco was at Shrine Bowl last year, and he caught a pass in the flat and took off, and it was just blinding speed. Like, he's got legit burners, man. And we don't get to see it as often as maybe we want, but he's not just a physical, between the tackles guy. Like, when he gets out on the edge like that, he can fucking run. Huge play to bail them out. So best case scenario for Jags here is hold them to a field goal. And that'd be good for me too, because I need another one from Bucker. All right. There's no great call on 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. You just kind of hold on and pray. Oh, man. Impressive drive from the Chiefs, though, to do this without Mahomes. I got to say. Very impressive. Probably another run here. Pacheco got you there. The offensive line got you there. Let them do the work. No, Kelce. Okay. I'm wrong again. Shocker. That's got to be what, like his 10th catch in the first half? God. It's just unstoppable. Yehimadon for $5. Hey, Brett, I took your advice on Brandon Ayuk, and it helped me win my fantasy football championship. Glad to hear somebody else believes in Ayuk besides me. What do you think the Niners do with Debo this offseason? Probably keep him. You already paid him. Probably keep him. Why wouldn't you? Like, if you have a young, cheap quarterback, whether it's Trey Lance or Brock Purdy, you can afford to spend elsewhere on the roster, so yeah, keep Debo. Like, you want as much talent around Brock Purdy as you could possibly have. So I see no reason to get rid of Debo. False start on field goal. Kick it again. Okay. Get down here to the most recent. Oh, yeah, there was a false start there. I took Brett's advice on Ayuk 2 years ago and played the price. He was just a year early. I was a year early on Derrick Henry, too. The year that I recommended Derrick Henry was going to go off, he then, of course, was still splitting carries with Dion Lewis. And then the year after, they finally gave him the workload. And then he became Derrick Henry. But I was like, God. It was on tape. They just didn't give him carries. And I remember I was really mad because that was Matt LaFleur who was the OC. And I was really mad at Matt LaFleur for like just having the worst workload allocation in the league for running backs. Like you have this giant 240-pounder that gets better if you get him over 15 carries. And you give him like 7. And Dion Lewis is getting 12. We're like, what are we doing here? And then he goes to the Packers. Now we're seeing the same shit with Aaron Jones. He just forgets Aaron Jones exists for long periods of time. Well, if you watched him in Tennessee, you'd know that. It's the same guy. Like, he gets an amazing top 5 running back and refuses to use him. It's unbelievable to me, but that's what LaFleur is. Brett Coleman, is Greg Roman to the Titans a done deal? I'd be hard-pressed to find a better fit for either one. I haven't heard anything about Roman to the Titans, but I could see it for Malik Willis if we're trying to get Malik Willis involved with the run game and not Ryan Tannehill. But if we're going all in on Malik Willis, like, yeah, I could see that. They still need to improve the offensive line because the offensive line is garbage. But Greg Roman plus replenished offensive line plus Malik Willis plus Derrick Henry, yeah, sure, sign me up. That pick'em is not looking so hot. Mahomes 24.5 rushing. Sheesh. You're correct. But remember, I have insurance on the slip, so I only need 4 out of 5 to pay out. And if I hit, 2x, right? Let me check. So if I hit 5 out of 5, I win $3,000, obviously. Which I don't think I'm going to hit because Mahomes is out. Well, not out, but not on the field. But if I hit... see, what is it? I think it's 2x if I hit 4 out of 5. So I still win $300. I'll take it. I mean, I have a pretty decent chance of hitting 300, so which I can then use on another slip for, Giants Eagles or whatever. Explain why Matt Canada is staying. Because the Steelers are loyal to a fault. That's why he's staying. They don't fire anybody unless they absolutely have to. Ever. They've had like 3 head coaches in 50 years. What do you expect? Not that Tomlin deserves to be fired. He doesn't, but like they never fire anybody. Just want to say that you really got me into football at a new level. Spend hours doing draft scouting now because of you. You've really changed my life, and I appreciate what you do. I really appreciate you, Whitman. I really do. And I love hearing stories like that. I love hearing that the content does more than, give you something to do while you guys make your morning coffee or something. I genuinely love that. So thank you. I appreciate that. 1st and 10 here for the Jags again. Looks like cover 3. Oh, we're running speed option again. Okay. Jags are just running something new every single play. I like it. Doug's calling a good game. I know they're down by 10, but Doug is objectively calling a good game. The Chiefs have just eaten a lot of clock. So Jags haven't had the ball that much. Followed your slip, did not take insurance. Oh, buddy. Come on now. You got greedy. You saw the $6,000 and got greedy. That's what that was. Always do insurance. Always. I know it's lesser top-end payout, but at least you get more money in the end because you'll lose less. You can hit 4 out of 5. Not easily, but consistently. 5 out of 5 is very hard to do. Hence why the insurance exists. All right. Jags are kind of in a 4-minute offense here. They're not super up-tempo. Ooh, taking a shot. Does he hit it? Oh, my God. Oh, no, he didn't hold on to it. Oh, Christian. Hold the ball. Oh, man. That's rough. Great shot dialed up here, though. Looks like 2x2. Yeah, just ran right by him in quarters. Remember what I said, Dougie P. He knows how to exploit quarters coverage. If you give him that look, he'll take you deep. Just ran right by him, too. Rough. So what I always love about Trevor Lawrence when he does that kind of stuff, when they're doing the zone read stuff, or even if it's just inside zone, he will stay on the mesh point forever. Like he will literally just run with the running back to make whoever the read man is be like second guessing himself. Like watch the next time they call any kind of inside zone or zone read or something like that. Like he will stay on that mesh and literally just follow the running back into the hole. He's the ballsiest quarterback in the league when it comes to how they handle the mesh point, because he's almost like begging to get hit. He's like, please hit me, don't hit him. And I think that's a big reason why Etienne's been so effective on those zone reads too, is because like if you just divert the read man's eyes for a split second because the quarterback is also running, it can open up that hole like crazy. So it's ballsy, like it's inviting the quarterback to get hit, but it's awesome. I love it. Alex for $5 for someone who has never had coffee and is doing 10-hour shifts plus calculus at night. Gross. What do you suggest that is trying out coffee? I mean, here's the thing. If you're not a coffee drinker and you don't need coffee to stay awake, don't drink coffee. Because once you start drinking coffee, you will never be able to not drink coffee. And you will be stuck on it for the rest of your life. I'm telling you right now, you don't want to live like me. I do 6 shots of espresso a day just to function. You don't want to be like me. My heart's going to give out when I'm 40. So stay away. Stay far, far away. If you don't absolutely need it, stay far, far away. Because it becomes like, oh, I'll just do this latte just this one time so I can do this all-nighter, which it used to be for me. I used to be when I was fresh out of college, I used to not drink caffeine almost at all, to the point where if I got a Coke when I did overnight shifts at NFL Network, because I would do, well, there's a whole bunch of different variety of overnight shifts at NFL Network, but like I used to do overnight support for Good Morning Football way back in the day when Good Morning Football first started. And so we would do edit support from California, and it would go on air at like 3 a.m. our time, so the shift would start at like 11 p.m., right? And we would go through the end of the show, which was like 7 a.m. our time. And we would just cut stuff and then send it over to, because the show is done in New York, so we'd cut it in LA and then upload it through our system to the studio over there, or the control room over there. And I would just go down the street to Subway and get like a large Coke. And I was so averse to caffeine that like that would keep me going the entire night. And then that became like, okay, I'll get a mocha. And then, okay, mochas taste like sugar. Let me just get a latte. And then it became a triple shot. And then a quad shot. And then it became a triple shot in the morning and a triple shot in the afternoon. Once you start, man, you can't stop. T-Law work in the middle to Kirk again. See, was this, I can't tell if it was quarters or cover 2 from this angle, but again, if you're giving middle field open looks, Doug is going to take the middle. Kirk again. I told you guys that 66.5 was bullshit. I told you guys. He's going to smash it today. Eric Holmes for $5. Yo, Brett, how am I just finding out you do live streams? Love your content. Most of my live streams are over on the podcast channel, which I know a lot of people don't realize that I have a podcast. I do. It's called the Bootleg Football Podcast. We put out episodes every single week, sometimes 1, sometimes 2. And we did live streams every Thursday night for every TNF game. We're going to do that again next year. But yeah, if I put out 20 times more content on the podcast channel than I do on Film Room, typically. So if you want to hear me incoherently ramble about football even more, Bootleg Football Podcast. That's where you go. Great off-platform throw from Trevor, by the way. Sometimes 5 episodes a week. Yes, in the off-season where we do an hour-plus long team preview for every single team, 5 days a week for like 2 months. This has been a masterful 4-minute drill from the Jags. They're burning like almost 4 minutes of clock, and they're in the red zone. They're already in field goal range. Like, this is an incredible drive from Doug Peterson and Trevor, obviously. That podcast available on Spotify? Yes, it is. And Apple Podcasts. But we actually get a lot of views on YouTube. YouTube's like the #1 podcast platform right now, believe it or not. Kirk again. 3 yards at a time. We'll take it. Regular season awards podcast coming. Either that or we'll do like a bootleg all-pro team, something of that nature after Super Bowl. Oh, Trevor almost got picked there. Did Kirk get that? I don't know if he did. Brett, try drinking Lakewood organic fruit juice for energy instead. Lakewood organic fruit. I've never heard of that. What fruit specifically? All right. Field goal to make it a 7-point game. Come on, Riley. So in the first matchup between the Jags and the Chiefs, Riley missed 2 field goals, and he barely got that one. Come on now. Oh, you're going to give me a heart attack. Either way, great job by the Jags to bleed off that clock and kind of deny KC another possession. JJ for $5. I've never, ever had coffee. I can't get past the smell to even attempt to drink it. My friends call me a psychopath for not having it. See, I love coffee smell. Like, I smell coffee now, and it's like it's an amazing smell to me. I adore coffee smell. And I'll tell you, for all the chefs out there, coffee rub on beef, coffee-based rubs are indescribably good. So good. Telling you, it's worth it. So worth it. Kel for $5. Brett, if you think your coffee habit is bad, just be glad you aren't like Hemingway. 4 to 5 death in the afternoons at a time, absinthe and Prosecco. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'll take like a little spritz of absinthe, a rimming of absinthe on like a Manhattan or something like that. Not straight up absinthe and Prosecco. Hell no. Dylan for $2. Love the Bootleg podcast. How did EJ and you meet? We met at the Senior Bowl 3 years ago. It was 2020. Wait. Was it 2020? Either 2019 or 2020, whichever year Justin Herbert came out, because Herbert was at that game. It was Herbert, Jordan Love, the Wazoo quarterback, and Jalen Hurts. So I think it was 2020. We met at that Senior Bowl, and we hung out, and we had never met before. We hung out that whole week, going to practice together, sharing plates of barbecue, talking football, and we were just immediately like, you're the person we've been looking for to talk football with. Like we think the same, we share a lot of the same passions, and it was just immediately hit it off. And it was like 2 days into it, and I was like, we gotta do a podcast, because I knew that I knew I wanted to do a podcast, and I knew I couldn't do a podcast by myself, because I needed somebody I could bounce off of and have a conversation with to do like an engaging podcast. But I didn't really know anybody that I felt I could have a good conversation with. And then, 2 days into Senior Bowl week, when EJ and I were having all these amazing football conversations, I was like, if we just put a microphone up to this, it would be a good podcast. And that's essentially what we did. We just have our football conversations every week with a microphone, and people seem to enjoy it. And 3 years later, here we are. But we're going to Shrine Bowl on Friday to do a ridiculous amount of content. We're going to have interviews with player after player after player, practice recaps. We'll talk about Senior Bowl while we're there, because Senior Bowl goes on at the same time. We'll do our Super Bowl preview episodes from Vegas while we're there. We'll do, conference championship recaps. Like, we're going to be there for like 9 days. So just months of content are coming out of this week. And keep in mind, 2 playoff starting quarterbacks this year came from Shrine Bowl last year, Brock Purdy and Skylar Thompson. So there is legitimately great talent at that game. And we're going to try to interview and talk football with as many of them as we can. So subscribe to Bootleg Football Podcast to do that and to hear all that. Alex Smith has some plant-based energy drink. I do like Alex Smith. I'd try it. All right, so 10-17 at halftime. Overall, let me look at the stats here. Not necessarily the box score stats. I want to see time of possession. Let's go to the top of ESPN here. Scores. Come on now. Load. So if we're looking at overall game stats, because I think KC is probably way up until, time of possession is 18:27 for KC to 11:33 for Jacksonville. So that kind of explains a little bit of the score differential. Obviously, that big Chad Henne drive was a massive factor. Them still getting points without Pat was huge. But, we're talking about 35 plays to 25, 200 yards to $143. The yards per play is roughly the same, 5.7 to 5.8. It's just about time of possession. The Chiefs sustained 2 really, really long drives. They started the game with the 12-play drive that was 6 minutes long. Then that Henny drive was 12 plays for 6 minutes. Again, they also had a field goal drive, 11 plays for 43 yards for 555. 43 yards in 5 minutes, 55 seconds. So, I mean, you do 3 6-minute drives. That's a lot of time. So, not necessarily any explosive plays for the Chiefs other than that one Pacheco run. But the fact that they could sustain drives 5 yards at a time and keep Trevor Lawrence off the field is pretty big for them. It's kind of interesting. It's like the opposite of what we normally, think of the game plan against the Chiefs if you want to keep Mahomes off the field. Chiefs are keeping Lawrence off the field because they don't have Mahomes anymore. So credit to them for doing that. Very well called game by them so far. Is Grassi here? The Grassi posse has arrived. Tom Gross, if you guys don't know, is the greatest Packers fan on the face of the earth. One of the best humans in all of football media. An incredible person. The Grassi posse do so much good work, charity-wise, bringing, the public attention to how to do better in the world. Tom Grassi is just the best. He's the fucking best. And we love the Grassi posse. We love everything they do. It's one of the most powerful charitable forces I've ever seen in my life. And they are always welcome here. Always. So, Tom, if you're still here, I appreciate you, bud. And I don't know if Tom's streaming today. Probably is, right? But if Tom is streaming today at some point, go check out his stream too, because he's awesome. And he puts on a great show. He's much better at this than I am. Thoughts on Jim Schwartz to the Browns? I like the hire a lot, to be honest. Big fan of that hire. I think Jim Schwartz is a good coordinator. He's a good leader, good communicator, good teacher. I think the Browns defense will be better for it. And I'm all for it. Plus, I have a Jim Schwartz playbook, so I'll actually know some of the calls they're using so I can analyze them better. So I'm always in favor of teams hiring coaches with playbooks that I have because I can actually talk to it a little bit more. So I look forward to kind of breaking that down in the offseason. When we do our Browns offseason preview over on Bootleg, speaking to how Jim will likely use that personnel, which that'll come out somewhere in the summer, June, I imagine, ish. Hi, Brett. Hope you're doing good. Hope all of you are doing good. Let's see, how many we got right now? 1,120. Let's go. Appreciate all of you for being here, especially the ones that have been here from the beginning. We've done a little bit of whiteboard breakdown. Hope to get to a little bit more of that in the second half. Now, chat, because you guys have audio and I do not, if you could give me some sort of update on what is going on with Mahomes, I would appreciate that because I still don't know if it's ankle, if it's knee, if he's out. I would like to know that as well because I do not have any audio to see that for myself. Who do you like for Falcons DC? Because P's retired. Let's see who's available right now at DC. Trying to think. So a big thing hinges on ankle questionable. Thank you. Appreciate that. A big thing hangs on Ejiro Evero from Denver, who I know is in the running for some head coaching jobs. And he's a wonderful defensive coach, great coordinator, all that. And I'm not entirely sure what's going on if he will be retained in Denver, depending on who gets hired, if Evero does not get a head coaching job elsewhere. So say if they hire Sean Payton, would Payton retain Evero or would he bring in his own guy? That I have no idea. If I was Sean, I'd keep Coach Evero because he's awesome. But if Evero suddenly becomes available based on who Denver hires at head coach, I would love the Falcons to get Evero instantly. Like snap him up, pay him whatever he wants because he's probably the best, other than Vic Fangio himself, probably the best defensive play caller that might be available on the market. So that's who I would go after. But obviously a lot of dominoes have to fall with Gannon, with DeMeco Ryans, with Sean Payton. Like a lot of these coordinator hires, we're going to have no idea what's going to happen until Denver makes a decision and until Indy makes a decision, to be perfectly honest. So we'll see. We'll see. And it might come this week. Hopefully it does. Ricky Utique for $2. Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. What are your thoughts on Zach Schaumler? Love Zach. Big fan of Zach. He's a friend of mine. I'm actually going to see him in Shrine Bowl this coming week. Yeah, he's driving in. I think he's driving in the same day I fly in, because he's living that van life, traveling around the country, talking football, living the dream. Infinitely jealous of him for that. But he's coming to Shrine this coming week, so we're going to, grab beers, talk ball, all that kind of stuff. But I love Zach. He's awesome. One of my favorite dudes in the business. Mad Tom for $3. I already did that one for Falcons DC. Benchwarmer Brew, yes. Which is, I think, is it half owned by Brandon Perna and half owned by Tree and 5 Points? Maybe it's a three-way thing. I think it's all of them, right? But I've already worked my way through 2 bags of that. I probably should order some more. Benchwarmer Brew, great coffee. Jared Cole for $2. Where's your jersey? I spilled salsa on it, Jared. I wore it for one day and spilled salsa, so it's in the washer right now. I'll have it for tomorrow, probably. Because I think the games start tomorrow, my time, at 11, right? Something like that. So we'll be going on earlier tomorrow. Either way, I'll start half hour before kickoff of the first game, just like today. And I think I might do both games tomorrow. I'm only doing one today. I think I might do both tomorrow. Rahul for $5. Any plan to rework the 3-up, 3-down format for early in the season, since you're really able to talk about a max of 9 teams a week? Love the podcast. I'm absolutely open to suggestions. I know that we're going to probably rework the whole format for next season. And we might turn it into a preview podcast of the next week with a recap live stream early in the week, because of the way our workflow is right now with how we record, early in the week and then send it to the editors. Then we have revisions and we're putting in film and graphics and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes our review episodes of what happened the previous week don't come out till Wednesday or Thursday. And in the middle of the season, people are already moved on, and they want to know what's going to happen the next week. So I think what we might do next season is do a live stream to talk about everything on like Monday mornings, right? Because that's all people care about. They just want to get our thoughts on it. They don't need all the fancy graphics and everything like that. So do the reviews, and then that afternoon, not live, we record the preview podcast for the upcoming week, where we can take our time to put in the film and put in the graphics and make that all fancy and sexy and stuff like that. And then have that come out probably like Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning or whatever it's going to be, So obviously more production on our end, but I think the scheduling of it in terms of how you guys consume the content will be better for you, because then you get our thoughts on the previous week Mondays, and then you get our preview later in the week when it makes more sense, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking. If you guys have any other ideas, feel free to let me know. We're still going to have the Thursday night live streams for TNF. We're still going to have, all of the draft content we normally do, all the team previews normally do in the summer, like all that's staying the same. It's more so in the middle of the regular season, how are we going to change things? So we'll see. Let's see. I feel like a Pablo for $10. Thank you. Any idea what you would call that coverage KC was in for that deep shot that the Jags missed to Kirk? From the 3-second view behind Trevor Lawrence, it looked like they were in quarters, because Kirk was lined up at the number 2 spot, and it looked like a safety was inside leveraged, man turning on when he kind of bid on the little rocker step to the outside. It looked like he was basically matching that in a man turn, which to me signals quarters based on leverage and technique. So the thing with quarters, and I think I have time to draw it up here actually. Hold on. So people see quarters as like zone, and it's kind of not, it's not really. So center, that's a terrible box, but whatever, you get the point. So let's say Kirk was here at X, then we got Z, then we got Y, we got the zebra if we're in 11. Then we got quarterback, and let's go him. So if we're in, let's just do under front, make it easy. And then you are here, and then strong safety, corner, and then let's go nickel, corner, free safety, right? Come on, Brett, let's do this better. So if we're in quarters, it's going to be man here, right? It's going to be man here, basically. These are only not man if he's going under early, and then somebody will pick it up. But typically in most quarters, it's basically just man coverage with extra steps. If this 2 goes vertical, he's taking it. If Kirk at the X here is going vertical, he gives a little rocker step outside and then goes to the post, he's taking it. The nickel's not carrying this in quarters. It basically just becomes man coverage deep down the field with a safety. And the thing with quarters is once things are going vertical deep down the field, it's literally just man coverage. Quarters as a coverage is not we're playing deep zones. Quarters as a coverage is we are lining up, with 4 quadrants of defenders, and then based on the declaration of these routes is who ends up covering who in man coverage. So think of it's a zone match coverage, but it plays out like man. So some coaches call it zone coverage with man coverage principles. Some call it man coverage with zone coverage principles. It's the same shit. Either way, if 2 is vertical, safety's on Christian Kirk. And because he's inside leverage, if he gives a rocker step, like we're running a deep sail concept, and then he's kind of man turning with it outside, and then he wheels up to the post, you got him. All you got to do is just make sure your protection's good. Now, in terms of why the nickel isn't carrying, sometimes the nickel will carry the number 2, typically in like a trips look though, is because if this guy, ETN or whoever, is fast to the flat, these linebackers, because remember, they're leveraged here based on expecting the run to flow this way, right? So these linebackers are going to be out leveraged to the flat. So the nickel will do what's called a push call. So he has to be available. So if he's pushing to the flat, he's there. That's why number 2 is carrying vertical, right? So it's basically man unless he's under, man unless he's under. He's carrying 2 vertical. He's carrying 2 vertical. And if the running back releases this way, they'll pick it up. If he fast to the flat, nickel pick it up, right? General idea. And that's why that shot to Kirk worked. It's because you're getting your number 1 receiver on a safety out in the middle of nowhere with no help in any direction, right? It's a great scheme by Peterson. Identify the weakness, identify the matchup, and hit it. Name of the game. Hope that answered your question, by the way. Thank you for the super chat. Mahomes is back. Let's go. We call the style of defense pattern match. Exactly, because you are literally just matching the pattern. Negative on the x-rays for Mahomes. That's good news. He for sure got that good old Toradol shot at halftime. So we'll see how that works. Brett Coleman, what do you think the Seahawks should do with their 5 picks in the top 100? People are saying Geno is the future, so no QB, but I remember 2014. What if that's the Geno we get in 2023? 2014 was a long time ago. A lot can happen in 7 years. A lot of development can happen in 7 years. I trust that the Geno we saw on tape this year is what Geno is. So I would not go quarterback. As for the other 5, I'll get to that in a little bit. For now, I want to watch this drive. Kelce again, we'll take that. Big thing is just supporting Geno, right? More weapons, more protection. New center would be great. They haven't had a great center since Unger, in my opinion. Schmidt's kid from Minnesota would be awesome for them. You already got the running back. Notre Dame tight end, just for shits and giggles, because why not? Just weapons of protection. Really lean into Geno, in my opinion. Unless a top-grade defensive tackle is available. Jalen Carter slips. Yeah, Jalen Carter. Sign me up. The Baylor kid, all about it. But the value on defense has to be there. There's Mahomes, hobbling his way closer to that fabled 25 yards that we need. He's still limping heavily, though. I don't think he's going to get there. There's no way. I mean, he could barely move. And just based on this is probably after he got a shot. Just based on this, I still think outside zone off the table, bootlegs off the table, option off the table. There's only so many runs you can do. Oh my God, they called it. They called outside. He can't move. Why are you calling it? What are we doing? Don't make him move. I said it was off the table for a reason. God damn, Andy. Don't call it. He can't do it. For the love of God. Great protection up front, though. They know that he can't move. These guys are playing their ass off up front. He's a sitting duck, and they're doing a wonderful job in protection. Watch this. Watch this pocket. Oh, my God. McKinnon. Did you guys see that pickup by McKinnon? Woof. Oh, man. Shot of the week right there. Love it. Love it. He's playing his ass off. John Tucker, thank you for the $1. I appreciate you, sir. Ball slightly behind. Slightly behind. All right, so got him off the field. That's what matters. Now, let me see how he stepped into this. Because it is his right foot, so I can't think it would impact him throwing too much. Yeah, I think he just missed. Because luckily, it's not his plant foot that's hurt. It would be even worse if it was his left foot. Because that's what he's planting to step in. Then he wouldn't be able to play at all, in my opinion. He would not be able to play if it was his left foot. The fact that it's his right, you can get away with it a little bit. Oh, Agnew taking it again. A little bit of a suicidal return, but I appreciate the gumption. McKinnon is the smallest strongman in the world. Leg press is 600 pounds. Yeah, I remember when he was coming out in college, and he was just a mighty mouse, man. JJ for $5. Pat is like Peyton Manning right now. Needs to rely on his eyes. Yeah, the offense has to fundamentally change. There's a lot of, and they love outside zone in that scheme too, especially out of gun. Actually, they'll probably have to run outside zone out of gun because then Pat won't have to move. But outside zone is harder to run from shotgun in terms of how the running back reads it and how the line blocks it, because it's a lot more of a lateral path. If you're actually, again, I'll do this from on the board. I won't have to draw everything, but so if you're in shotgun and they're calling outside zone, it's a very lateral path to pick up the ball. So the aiming point is naturally wider, and if you have to cut back because it's such a lateral give, it's a really sharp cut and it's a slower cut, right? Whereas if he's under center, if he's here and the F is here, and you're doing outside zone, you can still aim at the outside hip of the tackle, but it's a lot less of a sharp path for the back. And so it presses the front side a little bit more convincingly, and you can bounce, you can bang it up. or bend it. I think it's bounce, bend, bang, if I recall correct, is the terminology? Whatever it is. You can bounce it, you can take it right up the tackle, and because it's not such a sharp angle, it's a lot easier, not even a little, a lot easier to this bend back side, and so it's a much quicker cutback. So it's way easier to run outside zone from under center, but here's the problem. Much further path for the quarterback to go to try to hand it off, right? And Pat can't do that, which is why I'm saying outside zone is off the table, unless you're running it from gun, but is a lot less effective from gun. So if you're going to run outside zone, you better be confident that you're getting a front that you can hit it on, because you're not going to be able to cut that shit back. So if you're taking outside zone completely off the table because the quarterback can't move, the offense has to change. And it's tough. It's tough. So we'll see. How's this ancient being been doing? Welcome, Autumn. I mean, I am, I got 12 years on you, so I'm about ready to die. My bedtime's coming up in an hour. Can you run it from pistol? Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. And I would argue in favor of running it from pistol. There's other complications from that. You know, if you're running it from pistol, you know, the path is a little bit more narrow, so it's really more of an inside zone path from pistol, unless you do a little bit of a toss, right? You can do a little bit of a toss outside zone from pistol, and that'll still work. I don't recall seeing KC run that before, but they can if they want to. You know, the exchange is a little bit more dangerous when you factor in a little bit of a toss there, but you can do it. I just don't recall ever seeing KC do it. But we'll see. I mean, the Andy Reid playbook's like 500 pages. I'm sure it's in there somewhere. Monophthalmos. God, I will get that one day. I promise. I promise I will, for €5. Thank you very much. Seems like Mahomes and Allen got several high ceiling prospects overdrafted. Will Purdy make scouts value experience and poise more in the near future? I think there's skepticism about Purdy being a prototype because of the team he's on. And I think people see Purdy more as the exception than the rule. The exception being if you're with Kyle Shanahan, you know? So I still think people are going to draft freaks over everything, because freaks tend to work a lot more than players like Purdy do. Not that Purdy can't work. It's more so, statistically speaking, you know, let's take the 6'5" guy that's 240. They tend to work out more. All right, finally we're getting Etienne involved. Hasty got a lot of snaps there in the second quarter. I was curious what was going on with Etienne, but nice to see him back out there. 1st and 10 here. Looks like quarters on the back end. Might be a rotation to 3-week. Ooh, that's a really fun run. Off, you know, faking the motion, then running it away from the down safety, running it strong side. That's fun. So watch this. Ingram looks like he's motioning, right? And then we're running like it's like a split zone that's hitting even further inside. It looked like the aim point on that was the front side A gap, which is fun. That looked a little bit tighter than I'm used to seeing split zone run. But I'll have to go back to the All-22 to make sure I didn't see that. But it looked like it hit downhill even quicker. That's the thing with doing broadcast is you only get one look at it for 3 seconds. So it's tough for me to see sometimes. Alan Collins for $10. Caveat before my question: I really know nothing about football since I never played it, so maybe I'm crazy. Let me watch this first. From empty is going to be cover 2 all the way, probably on 2nd and 7. That was a miscommunication and almost picked. Caveat before my question, I really know nothing about football since I never played, so maybe I'm crazy, but do you think we see a fullback resurgence with so many teams using them more often? Yes and no. We will see a fullback resurgence if teams can find fullbacks that can catch. Because there are certain things that you cannot do on the... Ooh, Trevor took one right on the chin there. There are certain things that you cannot do in the passing game with a fullback on the field if you can't trust your fullback to catch. And I think that one of the reasons why the 49ers and the Dolphins ran so much 21 personnel this year is because Juszczyk can catch and Ingold can catch, you know? And I think that coaches are unwilling to sacrifice a receiving threat on the field just to run two-back runs. And if they're going to run two-back runs, they also want to be able to do the full array of play-action passes off of that and have 5 guys on the field that can actually catch the ball. So if you can find a fullback that can catch, absolutely fullback resurgent. If it's an old-school fullback that they cannot get involved in half the playbook, probably not. Ooh, Tony. Getting crunched. That should have been a flag. I agree. I mean, technically, by the letter of the law, helmet to Trevor's chin. I've seen worse flagged for roughing the passer, for sure. So what do you think of Jakob Johnson from the Raiders? I think McDaniels wanted a fullback that knew all of their protections, and he wanted a fullback that knew, you know, all of their running adjustments against certain fronts in their two-back game, and didn't have to teach his fullback how to do anything, so he wanted Jakob Johnson, right? But Jakob Johnson is a very one-dimensional player, so I do not see him as like a modern fullback, right? Like, I think there's very few teams. Like, the Patriots got rid of Johnson for a reason, right? They wanted to use Jonnu Smith as a fullback, which he's not as good of a blocker as Jakob, but they wanted to use Jonnu Smith as a fullback so they could throw to the fullback. Like, they basically they're running 21 personnel with 2 tight ends, you know? Let's see. Storm for $5. Why is Will Levis projected to go so much higher than AR-15 when AR is younger and has more tools? I think it's, you know, projected by who? Because among teams, I think there's a lot of teams that are very excited about Anthony Richardson. And maybe just as excited about Richardson as Levis. And I think that among decision makers, you know, looking at all things being equal, they tend to like tools more than anything. And I think, you know, Levis obviously has a lot of tools too. But I think that there is not as much of a gap from what I understand between Levis and Richardson among like decision makers compared to the media. Now, does that mean that Richardson is going to go higher than Levis? I have no idea. It only takes one. Does that mean that Levis is going to go outside the top 10? Probably not. He's still probably going to go top 10. But it also means that I'm not totally convinced that Richardson is going to go outside the top 15. You know? Because at the end of the day, this is a size, speed, burst league. And he has more than anybody of all those things. So I'm not convinced that teams see Levis flaws and all and Richardson flaws and all and have drastically different overall grades on them. I don't believe that, you know? But we'll see. We got 3 months to debate this. For the record, I like both of them. But me watching both of them, I would be surprised if there's like a massive gap, if a gap at all. Let's see. Showing more Mahomes ankle struggles here. Looks like cover 3 on 2nd and 7. Might be cover 1. But based on the leverage, I would imagine cover 3 here. Oh, they're bringing it. 3-3 fire zone. Oh, and Pacheco got out of the first tackle. That's huge. If it's not a first down, it's at least very short. Turning it from 3rd and 3 to 3rd and inches is huge. Great run from Pacheco. Look at him spin off of that, just fighting for extra yards. God, he's so fun. He's awesome. I love that kid. This TV angle stinks. NBC tends to be a very tight TV angle. Very tight. And ESPN as well. And it really bothers me. How could Pacheco fall to the 7th round? There's a lot of good running backs. There's a lot of good running backs in that class. I thought he would go earlier than the 7th, but I knew he was going to go day 3, like mid to late day 3. Just because there was a lot of good players in that class. And what's crazy is this year's running back class might be even better. You know, especially at the top end talent. Like maybe in terms of depth, not quite as much, but in terms of top end talent, this year's class is better than last year's. And that's saying a lot. JJ for $5. Draft question. Am I crazy to have Tyree Wilson above Will Anderson? I have not gotten through Tyree Wilson yet, so I'm not going to say no or yes to that yet. But I will say I really like Will Anderson. So, you know, both of them are being mocked in the top 10 by virtually everybody. Will Anderson's being mocked in the top 5 by virtually everybody. So it's not like it's that big of a difference, but I hope to get to Tyree sometime in the next week before Senior Bowl so that I can talk about Tyree from an educated point of view when we do our Senior Bowl practice recap shows over on the podcast. So I'll probably sit down on my laptop and like just watch all of his pressures to get myself, ready to talk about at least what he does well as a pass rusher, right? Christian Jefferson for $10. How can the Vikings fix their defense this offseason? Well, they fired their DC, which was the biggest thing. That was by far the biggest thing. I do still think they have some young DB talent that I believe in. The question is, will their next coordinator put them in a better situation to succeed? Which means don't force them into being 7 to 8 yards off the receiver every single play. Let them play press man. The only reason they came back against the Colts was because they played more aggressive man coverage and, actually collisioned these receivers and made them work for it. Donatel, for every other half of every other game, did not do that. It was all just this soft bullshit. So I would like their next DC to, let their DBs play up tighter to the line of scrimmage. And if that's Brian Flores, great, because Flores does that a lot. But they just can't do this 7-8 yards off shit anymore. It's not working. Call stands. What was the call? First down? Or was call stands that he's out? Because that kind of looked like a first down to me, but oh no, 3rd and inches. Okay, so that was the call. That's the thing, I don't have any audio. Oh, I don't know if he got that. Did Noah Gray get that? I'm not sure. That's the thing is, like, everybody knows they're not going to sneak Mahomes, so as soon as Noah Gray goes under center, like, that he's going to be the one getting the ball. If anything, they should have done a hard count off that and tried to get him to jump. Because everybody knows Mahomes not getting the ball, and everybody knows Noah Gray's getting it. You got to hard count him. I'm not sure he got that. It's close, but I don't know. I think he's like 4 inches off. And they're punting. Oh, man. Huge play by the Jags defense. Huge play. Kind of a shitty call from the Chiefs, though. Because they've done that Noah Gray or Travis Kelce sneak so many times this year that everybody knows it's coming. Like you gotta do something else. Like when the Jags, they've gotten really creative on 4th and short multiple times and have kind of diversified the types of runs and the types of calls that they've put on tape, so you never really know exactly when they're sneaking. I would like to see the Chiefs not be so predictable on 3rd and short. Fake punt on 4th down. As ballsy as that would be, no, I don't expect that. Now, 6 minutes left in the third, 10-17. It looks like the under is in pretty good shape here, boys. So I think I missed on that one. Maybe if Mahomes was healthy, we would be hitting the over. But at this point, I don't know. Not feeling it. Not feeling it. Oh, great move by Hasty in the back. Did you see him get out of that? Oh, my God. That should have been a 4-yard loss, and he turned it into a 5-yard gain. That's incredible. What a run. What a run. There's people that are joining the live stream right now that are probably looking at this and wondering if I had like a stroke in the middle of diagramming. I promise it made sense at the time. Oh, man. All right. More trips. No, 4 strong. 4 strong to the field. Another screen out of that. They do love their screens out of 4 strong. Sets up a 3rd and 3. So, not that. If we're looking at our coverage data. 3rd and 3. Looks like Chiefs are very heavy into cover 1, about 27%. So we're looking at man coverage here, probably. The motion confirms it. That's why they sent Ingram in motion to check for man. 4 strong again. Oh, you got the rail. You got the... Oh, throw it. Okay, fine. He had ETN on the rail route down the boundary, but whatever. I won't complain about a first down. They had that, though. They had it. It's all right. They'll come back to it. They'll come back. Promise you. They're going to look at the tablet and be like, oh, we had ETN that runs 4-3 on Willie Gay down the boundary. Trips nub to the field. Love to see it. Another screen. The Jags, I don't have the data to back this up, but I swear the Jags call more screens than literally every other offense in the league. Like, by far. They love screen passes, my God. Like, it's just an extension of the run game. If they get 3-on-3 outside, like, you can almost guarantee it's going to be a screen pass. Respect Legarius still getting in there and almost making the play, though. Well, I mean, he did make the play, but almost got it even further. All right. Fuck, another screen. Fuck. Doug, come on now. It's like 4 in a row. There's 100 yards on the field. Use all of it, please. I beg you. Oh, my God. Safety's just out there doing cardio. It's like Cliff Kingsbury over here. All right, 3rd and 12. You're in a bad spot now. Not a whole lot of the playbook that can work on 3rd and 12. Oh, off the fingertips again to Christian Kirk. That's brutal. That's brutal. Poor series from the Jags. Way too many screens. Push the ball down the field, guys. Come on now. It looks like he stumbled a little bit. Maybe that played a factor, but it's rough. That's brutal. Ooh, they got close to a pump block on that one. Yeah, I'm not a fan of either of the last two series by Doug and Andy, not going to lie. They're two great offensive staffs, but I can still call them out for not calling a series well. They want those back for sure. Doug maybe they lost them the game on that awful play calling. Not necessarily. I mean, there's still 17 minutes left, you know? Now, if the Chiefs get like a 15-play drive for like 8 minutes, okay, yeah, we can talk about it, but long way to go. Long way to go. Andy Reid Tree loves screen passes. Brian Westbrook is the number 4 in career receptions with the Eagles. Yeah, sounds about right. Same thing with Sean Payton. You know, with Reggie Bush, Darren Sproles, Alvin Kamara. It's like once you get a running back that can catch, it's all you want to do. See if there's any super chats that I missed here. I think I'm all caught up. Think so. Remind me if I'm not, chat. Did the Vikings console themselves after their elimination with Love Boat 2.0? Did something happen with the Vikings I'm not aware of? Are you going to do the stream for the Giants game too? No, I have a family obligation during the evening game because the one thing is when you have family that don't watch football, sometimes they schedule events in the middle of football games. So I am not streaming during Saturday evening, but I will be doing both games tomorrow. So the one game I'm not streaming this weekend will be, at least I think I'm doing both games tomorrow. We'll probably. But the one game I'm not streaming is going to be Eagles-Giants. And then I'll just catch up on it tonight when I get home. By the time I get back, all 22 will probably be uploaded, so I'll just watch it there. That way I won't have to deal with the announcers and the TV angle. I'll just watch it all 22. Much quicker that way. Not a fan of this slip right now, but I'm staying hopeful. Well, let's see. Butker, we just need 1. Kelce, we just need 20 yards. If we get 20 yards from Kelce and a Butker field goal to make it 20-10, and then T-Law has himself a great drive and hits Kirk for a big one and gets a passing touchdown, we're 4-5. We're good. We're good. You know? So it's not impossible. We're in a decent spot. We're in a decent spot. It's not Kelce. It's, who was that, Gray? Yeah, no, Gray. How do you watch the All-22? All-22, as far as I know, is still publicly accessible for people on NFL Plus, if you have an NFL Plus subscription. I think an easier way to do it, and this is how I typically do it, is you use a VPN, which I'm on right now. I'm connected to a German server right now. So, because I use the international version of NFL Game Pass, which allows you to live stream games. And also you get all the All-22 and stuff too. But that's how I watch live games. I use a VPN and international Game Pass. That's why I love my Nord sponsorship, because I use them every year. Like that's the main reason I have Nord is for streaming football. I'm curious to see what it's going to look like next year though, now that Sunday Ticket's going to be on YouTube TV. Oh my God. Did he pick that? Excuse me? He got that? No, he just broke it up. I thought he picked it. I was like, that's the most casual game-winning INT I've ever seen. He got up like he was just like, yeah, I got it. Great PBU, though. This is a pass. You can tell from the way McKinnon's... Or this is not a screen pass, I should say. You could tell by the way McKinnon was standing. When McKinnon is up like that, like 2 yards in front of Mahomes, you know he's in pass pro. If he's right next to him, then you alert screen. And they called OPI. Brett, can you help me with my World Lit homework? What's the assignment? What's the prompt that we're writing here? Because if I can't do it, ChatGPT definitely can. Or ChatGPT. GPT, right? They called that OPI? That's kind of a weak OPI call, but whatever. Like, I get it, but that's still... I don't know. Most teams get away with that. Even then, I'm not comfortable with 3rd and 19 against a gimpy Mahomes. I still think that that's a sketchy... Travis? Okay. Well, got us closer to our 80.5. We're at 72, so we need 11 more yards, if my math is correct. All right, Bucker, give me that field goal. Give me that field goal. We need this. You ain't winning games with Butker kicking field goals. Well, if the Jags keep calling screen passes and going 3 and out, they will. And there's 2. All right. 1 down, 3 to go. 1 down, 3 to go. So I need, 9 yards from Travis Kelce. I need 24 yards from Christian Kirk and a passing touchdown from T-Law, and we win ourselves $300. Not insurmountable. Not insurmountable. I'm feeling decent. And if Kirk, just didn't drop the ball 3 times in this game, we'd already have it. Doug's done a good job scheming him up. Just got to catch the ball. Job description is wide receiver. Do you have any thoughts on Giants, OC, and DC supposedly interviewing for several jobs tomorrow? Kafka and Wink both interviewing for who? Because there's certain situations I think Kafka would be very fun in. Because I think Kafka's a really good OC. He and Dable have been wonderful this year. All right, Agnew, 25. All right, Colts and Texans. So best possible scenario, since Ben Johnson is off the market, and if the Colts really want to lean into doing a total reset for their franchise, you get Kafka, and you give the Bears whatever they want for basically C.J. Stroud, right? Or Young, or whoever Kafka wants. So then you have a hotshot offensive play caller and quarterback developer, and a young, very talented quarterback. And then you do whatever you can to cobble together resources to make the offensive line not total shit. That is what I think is best case scenario for the... Oh, Trevor! Ugh. He got crushed by Derek Nottie. Yikes. That might be shot of the week. Oh my God. That was a great hit. All right, let me catch up here on chat. How is the romantic age different from the age of reason? 300 words? That's like a paragraph. You can do 300 words. That's nothing. That's like a sentence. Originally wanted Dorsey to Carolina, but now I'm on the Steichen head coach Fangio DC train. Fangio's not going to Carolina. He's not going to Carolina. He's either going to Philly if Gannon gets a job, or he's going to San Francisco if D'Amico gets a job, or I think he goes to Minnesota because they already kind of use a lot of the same verbiage there, and it's a lot easier to install. My general feeling is how it's going to go. I think Carolina is down on the list, personally. Like, not that his system wouldn't work there. I think it actually would be a great fit. Like, they got J.C. Horn. Like, he'd play the same role that Surtain did for Vic, and he'd be wonderful at it. They have a lot of young talent that I think would be amazing in Vic's system. I just think in terms of the most likely jobs Vic is going to take, it's either Philly, who he already works for as a consultant, or it's the Niners, who he's been linked to in the media over and over and over again for like 2 weeks. And he has familiarity with the organization, and they love him, and he loves them. Or it's the Vikings just because of, easy to install. Aren't Steichen and Fangio decent friends with the Philly connection? Yeah, I mean, Fangio's literally on the staff of Philly right now. Like, they announced before the year, like, he is a consultant for them. He is on the staff. Like, if they win a Super Bowl this year, Vic Fangio will get a Super Bowl ring from Philly. Like, he works for them. It's a thing, And I think people are not taking that into account, that if Gannon gets the job in wherever, if it's Houston or Indy or whatever, I would imagine they would just go to Vic and be like, you already work for us. It's already, like, you already do so much for us. Like, and you can see their defense has Fangio fingerprints all over it. Like, they run 30% quarters on 1st and 10. That's Vic Fangio. Like, that's half the reason their defense is so damn good this year, is because Vic Fangio's on the staff. Big catch by Zay Jones. So, like, if Gannon goes somewhere, they probably just throw a bag at Vic and say, come work for us. Unless D'Amico, like, in order of operations, San Francisco, Philly, Minnesota. All right, 3rd and 6, Jags. What you got? Looks like we're getting man coverage look all the way. 2-man here, right? Maybe? No, 1 robber. Trevor, run. Run, Trevor. There we go. Yeah, as soon as the front of that pocket opened up and you saw everybody man turning away from him, it's like, you got one option, dude, and it's to take off. Run for your life. Fangio to SF or Philly would require a base scheme change, though. No, it wouldn't. At least not in Philly. San Francisco, not really either. But you see how long Trevor's stuck on the mesh point there? Yeah, no, Philly, it would require almost no scheme change. Like, they run a lot of the same shit now. Like, you look at, like, their coverage allocation, how much quarters they run, how much cover 3 they run in certain downs and distances. Like, it's so similar to how Denver operated when Vic was there. The only difference is they don't call a lot of quarter, half. Like, we've seen a lot of Vic running and, Vic disciples. They don't do that as much, but they run quarters more than almost anybody. Like, it's Vic Fangio all the way. Like 30% on 1st and 10. You're running quarters? Like that's almost unheard of. Okay. Another screen here. What are we on? Third and what? No, 2nd and 9. Okay. Going empty again. Are they trying to force out a cover 2 look against empty? Oof, beautiful ball by Trev. Beautiful ball. But there's a flag. Coming back? What are we doing? 2nd and 19? Defensive holding. All right, cool. Great ball by Trev, though. Hit the whole shot. I mean, if they have to go to empty to force out cover 2, they will, I guess. Because that's what they really want. They want the boundary holes to be open, and they want the deep middle hole to be open, because Trev can hit both of those. Oh, no, that wasn't cover 2. That was cover 1. They just got it off a rub. Okay. See, this is why I want live all 22. The NBC angle is so fucking tight, you can't see anything. Ooh, end around. That does not help me on my Kirk over, but I like the play call. Really nifty design. All right, so we're in the red zone. Low red zone. I would imagine man coverage is on the table here, but it's risky against the Jags because they run so much mesh. I might call cover 2 here to protect the flats. Oh, they're just running it anyway, whatever. Etienne's in. All right. That was easy. Running it from 5 yards out. Not easy. I mean, they make it look easy, but it's not easy. Is it split zone? I didn't get a look at what run concept it actually was. It was split zone. Great job by Manhurts. If you saw, so split zone, it's supposed to be a kick out block to open up the cutback lane, right? But if your guy jumps inside of you and does what's called wrong arming or wrong shouldering and jumps inside to take away the cutback lane, you saw how Manhurts kind of hooked around and then basically just trusted Etienne to bend it even further backside, right? And it basically just opened up the backside edge instead of the backside cutback lane. That was a great block from Manhurts, recognizing what the defender was trying to do for him, getting inside on him, and just allowing him to go that way, turn him in, and then trust Etienne to cut it back even further. Like a great block by Manhurts, great read by Etienne. That is how you run it in from 5 yards out. Very well executed. Peterson going to screen them to death. Apparently, he's going to try. Definitely going to try. YOLO Swaggins for $5. Should we pencil in is it Devon Witherspoon? I've only seen all 22, not broadcast, so I don't know how they pronounce it. It's either Devon Witherspoon or Devin Witherspoon as a Jag, or would he not be there when they pick? He's not going to be there when they pick. I don't think he's getting out of the top 15 to be conservative. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the top 10. I don't think there's any way he gets down to Jacksonville. No way. Because the Jags are going to be picking mid-20s, right? Like, there's no way. Does Brett have an underdog card for the night game? I do not yet, I don't think. Let me check. I can make one, though. Let me make one. Let's see. Daniel Jones. Oh, wait a minute. I think I did do one. No, I didn't. All right, Daniel Jones over 33.5 pass attempts. I like that. Saquon under 98.5 rushing plus receiving. Richie James over 46.5. Or do I want Hodgins over 42.5? No, I'm going to go Hodgins over 42.5. That's what it is. So again, we're doing Daniel Jones over 33.5 pass attempts. Saquon under 98.5 plus rushing plus receiving. Hodgins over 42.5. Let's go. Where's A.J. Brown? Let's go A.J. Brown over 74.5. And Miles Sanders over 68.5 rushing. That sounds good to me. Lock it in. I can't do it on the one that's on screen because of the VPN that I'm on, but you guys can see that. Oh, no. I'm not autofocus. Again, Daniel Jones higher than 33.5 passing. Barkley lower than 98.5 rushing plus receiving. Hodgins higher 42.5 receiving. Sanders over 68.5 rushing. A.J. Brown over 74.5 rushing. I'll go with that. I'll tweet it out too, so you guys can just click the link when I tweet it, and you can tail it that way. How about that? All right. And tweeted. All right. So you can tail it from my Twitter if you so desire. Or if you have not signed up yet, remember you can get that $100 deposit match. So anything you deposit up to $100, they will match it and give you extra money to play with on the platform using promo code Brett. Link down in the description below. And we're sitting decent spot for hitting 4 out of 5 here. And if Mahomes somehow hobbles his way down the field for like 15 yards, we get 5 out of 5 and win $3,000. So I wouldn't say no to that either. Because Papa needs new bathroom floors. All right. Another little dirty bunch here. Because the Chiefs love their condensed formations. Another screen pass. Actually, that might not have been a screen. That might have just been a little flat. But regardless, nobody's throwing more than 5 yards down the field in this game. Pat straight up can't move his leg, man. This is rough. This is really rough. He can't even step. Oh, they're bringing it. They're bringing it. And Kelce again. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What's he at catch-wise? Let me see. He's got to be over 10. Yeah, 14 catches for 98. 2 touchdowns. Remember in the first quarter when I said Kelce was going to get 15 catches? He's 1 away. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, totally believable because Kelce's one of the best tight ends ever, but still. Like, I had high expectations for him in this game, and he's exceeded even mine. But only 7 yards per catch. I mean, considering Mahomes can't run around, I'm not surprised that all of their receivers can only go like 10 yards down the field, right? Because the 5 and 7 step drop game is completely out. Mahomes can't move. So you're all in like 3 step and 1 step quick game. Boots are off the table. Him running around and doing all the crazy scramble throws down the field is off the table. Like, the playbook is very constrained right now. Very constrained. And if the Chiefs still win this with half of a quarterback and Chad Henne, of all people, getting a huge game-winning or potentially game-deciding drive, like that'd be just amazing. I genuinely can't understand how Kelce is always open. Why don't teams put someone athletic shadowing him all day? It's not about athleticism. It's really not. It's about route running ability. It's about nuance. How he uses body language to manipulate people. It's the same thing like Jason Witten when he ran a 5.3 40 at the end of his career. We're still getting open on every third down because of how he runs routes, how he manipulates leverage, manipulates eyes. Huge catch. Was that Juju? It was. Oh, flag though. But like, there's so much more to route running and getting open than just being athletic. Like, obviously he is athletic, but he's an amazing route runner, and that's what really matters. So like, athleticism only goes so far. Well, penalty on defense. If the Chiefs get a touchdown here, it's going to be really hard for the Jags to come back because they're not getting enough chunks. Like, a touchdown here might put him away, but we'll see. Chad Henne earning every penny for his 8 plays every playoff run. Seems like it. Seems like it. Yeah, he earned his whole salary on that one drive. And Pacheco has too. I mean, he's just running his ass off today. They need to hold the best red zone offense to a field goal. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. Because Andy's got something weird in his back pocket. If they get inside the 5, we're going to see something funky. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be weird. Unless it's something that involves Pat moving, in which case they're not going to call it. Oh, Kadarius Toney. What a run. And they're doing a good job bleeding off the clock, too. I don't know. This doesn't look good for Jags. If they score here, it might be a wrap. Great run by Toney. Don't think they do the washing machine huddle this time? Yeah, probably not. The ring around the Mahomesy. He literally can't move. You see that? Like, he was bunny hopping just to try to get the handoff for outside zone. He can't run it. Every time they run outside zone with him, they lose yards. All right, so we're looking at 2nd and goal from the 6, long 6. Ooh, Kelce one-on-one. I'm not liking that. You got the 7 to the pylon if you want it. Or fine, fuck it. Hit Marquez Valdes-Scantling. That works too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling good about the Jags here. 7 minutes for 10 points when you can't get Travis Kelce off the field. That might be a wrap. Like, they can go down and answer, but if you don't answer quickly, and the fact that you can't cover Travis Kelce, they can just bleed out the clock the rest of the game and survive, and that's it. That's all she wrote, right? So that was a huge drive for KC. Monumental drive. And the Jags need to get chunks, and they need to get chunks right the hell now. Because you know Spags is going to dial up cover 2. And he's going to say, take 10 plays. Fine, you can get a touchdown, but you're going to take 10 plays to do it. They need to find a way to get a chunk against cover 2 right now. Without that, they are not winning this game. Two possessions in 7 minutes when all you've done is throw screens all day. Yeah, Jags are done. If they call screens again, they're done, but they can't. Like, I would rather take shots now and say, if we lose right here, we lose right here, then I would take 4 minutes off the clock with screen passes. Because if there's 3 minutes to go, you lose the game. Straight up. Because they cannot cover Travis Kelce. They will bleed you dry. So if we're losing, I'd rather lose from 7 minutes out than 4 or 3. What would you call to beat cover 2? So they have a really interesting beater that they showed in the last game. 1 second, let me. So they almost hit this with Kirk, but it got knocked down at the line of scrimmage. So I'll use blue for this. So what they did was Kirk was behind in the bunch, right? And so they ran the X deep, if I recall correctly. They ran him out to the flat. And then, he was here in this little zone. He was kind of in the hook. He was the pull runner. Deep half, run him there, right? And then he was out there. So he was in the hook and he was matching, right? Or no, he was in the flat, so he was picking him. So what they did is they then took Christian Kirk and they said, we're going to get you as the final number 3, and we're going to pressure the Mike who's running the pull as if we're trying to hit the middle seam, and then we're going to break out. So they basically created a late flood, but not a flood to the sideline, a flood to this little hole between this zone, and this zone. And Trevor was about to hit it for like a 20-yard gain, and it got knocked down by Chris Jones right there. So that's what you want. If we can get a cover 2 look on a bunch or on trips or anything like that, and we get Kirk pressuring the pole runner to get him to turn and run, and then we break out of it on like a deep bench route, that's what they want. Possibly we see it here. Oh, God. Well, Kirk almost just got killed. So we know they're trying to get him the ball. What does ZE mean? This means zebra. It's a Sean McVay terminology for like when they're in their 3 wide receiver sets, 11 personnel. They call it like the adjuster. Think of it like just third wide receiver, zebra. So instead of like XZ, the ZE stands for zebra. It's the third receiver. Is that Kirk that's down? That's not good. John Tucker, thank you for the $5. Appreciate that. Can someone describe to me, a Bears fan, what it's like to have a QB like 15? Probably feels pretty fucking good, huh? Bears never had one. Yo, Brett, will you do the same with the second game tonight? Unfortunately, I have a family event tonight, but I will be doing it tomorrow for those two games. Man, the blue did not really show up that well on screen, huh? All right, I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, no, I have a family event tonight, but tomorrow I'll do both. Just for you guys. How about that? How confident are you in the parlay at the moment? If Kirk is hurt, I am not confident at all. If Kirk is okay, decent. But unfortunately, Lawrence, I think, almost just got him killed. So we'll see. Do you think Lamar stays with the Ravens, and how do you think the Ravens office has handled the whole situation? I think a lot of it depends on what ownership is willing to spend, because Lamar wants the same deal Deshaun got. He wants $250 million guaranteed. And even though all of these owners are billionaires, there's a difference between being a billionaire and having $1 billion liquid, right? Because when you're signing a guaranteed contract, all of that money on day one immediately has to go into an escrow account. So you need $250 million in cash to go into an escrow. Oh, I don't think Kirk is coming back. That didn't look good. Oh, yeah, they banged knees. Yeah, he ain't coming back. I doubt it. Well, Slip's not looking good, boys. But yeah, so I don't know if ownership wants to, because again, they have to liquefy some of their assets in a down market to generate cash for a quarterback that consistently misses games. I'm not sure, as much as I love Lamar, I would pay him. It's also not my money. So, it's easy for me to say, oh, yeah, you give him whatever you want. But, the owner in his head is thinking, I am going to liquefy some of my most valuable assets to generate cash in a very down market in a recession, at the beginning of the recession, to pay a quarterback that misses games and misses time every single year for a variety of reasons. It's an economic equation more so than it is a football equation. Unfortunately, it's that side of the business. All right. Cover 3 robber against trips. Get Ingram on the run. Well, there's a chunk that they desperately needed. But again, the Chiefs are willing to give it to them. They're okay if they score here, as long as they take a long time to do it. But without Kirk on the field, I don't know if they're going to be able to get that kind of chunk. That's the problem here. Is there a way you can structure the contract without so much guaranteed? No, because Lamar won't accept it. That's the problem here. Oh, what a catch. Zay Jones got that off the tip. Yeah, so the thing is, every owner in the league, the reason why they hate Jimmy Haslam is because Jimmy Haslam gave that contract to Deshaun Watson. Because every other owner is like, fuck you, we now have to come up with $250 million in cash, when it didn't used to be that way. And the Ravens don't like that precedent being set, because Lamar, who does not have an agent, is asking for that deal, and he's not going to accept anything else. Oh, almost got picked there. So it's a snafu and a half over there, because you have a player who has had durability issues asking for a contract that has an unprecedented level of guaranteed money on it, and he doesn't have an agent to negotiate with, and an owner who's reluctant to liquefy his assets. It's complete foobar at this point, and I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. Again, I would pay Lamar, but it's not my money, so it's easy for me to say. Oh, look, another screen. Come on, Doug. Maybe I cursed Doug with bad play calling by doing an episode on how good he is at play calling. All right, third and 10, right? This is a tough situation. They need this or the game's probably over. Oh, look at the speed. Oh, and the toughness. Lower the boom, Trevor. Woo, he wants it. All right. Expect a rub here. Expect a rub. They're going no huddle. I think they think man coverage. Did he fumble? No. Oh! You asshole! Jamal Agnew! Oh my God. Got to check if he had possession, though. Got to check if he actually had it. See if he actually had possession. Because if he was bobbling it, I think he had it. I don't know. We need to see it from the other side. No second replay? Nothing? We got to see from his front. Oh, man. That's irritating. That's very irritating. It was temporarily the Jags. Oh, that's funny. Oh, man. Man, I hate that they took a commercial there. Like, I really do. I need to see the second angle. Any thoughts on Pickett moving forward? I thought Pickett had a nice rookie season. I think he acquitted himself well. I would like to see the offensive line upgraded a little bit. Receiving talent is there. But I think, Pickett did a good job. Like, I don't think he did a great, amazing job, but I think he did a good job. I think he showed that he's, a starting caliber quarterback for now. And we'll see what it looks like in year 2 when he's had another year to digest the system. I think that's a big reason why they were reluctant to replace Canada, is they didn't want to give him 2 offensive coordinators to start his career, where he had to learn a new thing over the offense or over the offseason. So, we'll see. We'll see what he looks like in year 2. I think he's fine. I think I would trot him out there as a starter and feel good about it. Do I think that, he looked like a franchise-changing player? Not necessarily. Doesn't mean he can't be. I think he was solid. That's what I'm trying to say. Solid. Not amazing. Solid. Decisive, accurate, mobile when he needs to be. Good in the fourth quarter. A lot to like there. Kirk is questionable to return. Ugh. Hate to see that. That one play, that one injury might have, straight up lost the game. Rough luck. So we didn't get to see a replay? They just Chiefs ball? That's it? Oh, now it's coming. Okay. So, catch. Yeah, that's a catch to me. And a fumble. Fuck, dude. Coming all this way. Down in the red zone. And it wasn't even forced out. He was tucking it, and it just slipped out. Oh, my God. Nightmare scenario. Chiefs get those bounces, man. I swear. They get those bounces when they need them. Rough. Rough. So 10 points in 5 minutes. I think this one's over, folks. I do. Like, if they give a first down right now, this is over. Ain't no way. Because then you have to go and score and then probably onside it and then score again. Like, you are straight up done if you give up a first down here. And they stopped him. Okay, there's life, but it is a sliver of life. Because they need an immediate score. And then they still got two timeouts, and they still 2-minute warning. So they need an immediate score, and then you can tolerate the Chiefs having one more possession. I don't feel good about it, but you can tolerate it because you have timeouts and the 2-minute warning. That was a massive stop. But the odds are slim. Like, I'm like 5% slim. Do you think stats-wise it's a better idea to go for it there? No, you have to punt, because if you don't get it, then they're in the red zone already with 4:30 to go. Then they can score and get even more time to get another stop and a possession back without using a timeout, right? So, like, punt was the correct decision because yards and time are what's valuable here. You know, the more yards they have to drive, likely the more time it's going to take. So punting was the right way to go. But if you do get it, that essentially ends it. Not necessarily, because again, it's still 2 timeouts on the clock, or 2 timeouts left and 2-minute warning and 4:30 to go. I think the risk outweighed the reward there from a pure math perspective. Kirk is back in. So it's just a contusion, I guess, right? One that's going to hurt a lot. The bruise is going to be gnarly. Hold the ball, Kirk. Come on. That's like, what? Is there Vaseline on this thing? How is nobody able to hold onto the ball? All right, 2nd and 6. 2nd and 6. You got to get a chunk here. Whoa! Who got that? Is that Watson? That 35? What a pick! What a pick! Oh my God, that's an incredible play. I don't even care that he got taunting. You just sent the team home, dude. You earned the taunt. You earned the taunt. Oh my God. Is that even on Lawrence? I mean, he could have left it higher, but like that's just an amazing athletic interception. Like the ball wasn't placed well, but I mean, dude, he went up and one-handed that thing. I think it can be both. I think it could be a bad throw and an amazing play, right? I think it almost looked like he was trying to throw a back shoulder when he should have left it upfield. But yeah, game's over now. For sure. 2 turnovers in a row. Like you're cooked there. You're cooked. And what's amazing is the Chiefs covered the spread with an injured Mahomes. That's what's amazing. And like There were so many drops for Jacksonville. They're showing the missed INT, the fumble, like every fucking bounce, except for obviously Mahomes getting hurt. Every bounce went the Chiefs' way today. That's insane. But I will say this. I did pick the Chiefs to win. I just picked the Jags to cover. So, I'm going to take solace in that. I did pick the Chiefs to win. But 10-point game is not what I expected. You think the Jags will face KC next year? I mean, they're on the schedule, right? Because the Jags won the division and KC won the division, so they will play next year. I don't know where off the top of my head, if it's in Arrowhead or Jacksonville, but so out of timeouts here. You're going to be on the other side of the 2-minute warning. The only hope you have is a garbage time touchdown to cover the spread, but you're not winning this game. Unless the Chiefs' special teams, which is terrible, unless the Chiefs' special teams completely fucks this up. But I don't think they will. But, I mean, that would be like a Packers-Seahawks NFC Championship game all over again. Like, it would need to be a monumental collapse. Because they're gonna get the ball with like a minute 20, and then you need to go down the field and score in like 30 seconds, right? Which you're not gonna do. And then onside, and then get a field goal. Like, it's over. Is there another way to watch it? I'm watching NFL Plus on my phone. You can get a VPN and then just go to the international Game Pass. I don't know if that's cheap, but it's a way to watch it without having to watch it on your phone. Or if you are watching it on your phone and you have the ability to just like screencast it to your TV, that works too. KC has a 99.8 win probability. Yeah, sounds right. Thank you for streaming the game. Really enjoy it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out, and hopefully I was able to give some analysis, to give some context on what we saw here today, and hope that helped. Hope you enjoyed it. I know some of you guys are watching the actual game and then just have me on like a second monitor, and I appreciate that. Hope it was enjoyable. International is $180 a year. Yeah, and if you're getting it at the beginning of the season, it's worth it because then you can stream every single game, right? If you're getting it now, it's probably not worth it. But you do get all 22, and you do get like all the NFL film stuff, like America's Game and NFL Network, and like there's a good value in it as a package, right? But the value is better at the beginning of the season where you get to enjoy all the live games. Should have written a better script for the game. My script would have not have included 2 back-to-back turnovers in the last 6 minutes. No. I'm pretty sure that fumble is why teams always kneel now. Probably. How much practice will Mahomes get this week? Probably nothing. That they would be a mistake, I think, to expose him and make him move any more than he absolutely has to. Mental reps only this week. Mental reps only. Let's see. 2 minutes to go, 3rd and 10. I mean, if they do just get a first down here, the game's over. But I think they'll just run it, and make them go down the field. So now Jags are going to get the ball with like a minute to go-ish. Unless they get a punt return. Then the odds go back up to 2%. Still got to get the onside kick. Props to all the people that bet under, though, and faded my over pick. Are they just going to take a penalty? Oh, no, they're going to call timeout and then kick it. Almost won $800, but I needed Chiefs plus 30.5 points. I mean, if they didn't turn the ball over and if Kirk didn't get hurt, I probably would have hit 4 out of 5 on mine too, but... Oh, Jaguars. Why must you hurt me so? Is this what it feels like to be a Jags fan? Just constant disappointment. And knowing that it should have been much closer, right? Any insight on what was up with Peterson's play calling tonight? I don't know why he called so many screens and why he was so reluctant to push the ball down the field for like the middle chunk of this game, right? The constant screen passes just drove me insane. Like, you're playing against the Chiefs. You have to be aggressive. You know, like you always have a chance against KC, but you have a puncher's chance. Like you got to punch. You know, if you're playing soft, they're just going to run over you. And I feel like they were too conservative overall. And in the few times where they were aggressive, Christian Kirk couldn't hold on to the ball, and then he got hurt. And then they had 2 terrible turnovers. So just, bad football all around. What can you do? Jared for $5. Heck of a season from Jax, though, from first overall pick to almost beating KC in the playoffs. Hats off to Duval for a great year. Overall, yes, absolutely. Great year. Phenomenal season. Probably more than a lot of Jags fans expected. And it was a great year. I think they have a solid foundation. T-Law is awesome. Doug Peterson overall is awesome. Did not have a good day today, but overall had a great year. And I think that, next year is going to be different because they have Calvin Ridley. Because next year, the offense is not going to be entirely reliant on, Evan Ingram getting catch and run opportunities and Christian Kirk maybe or maybe not catching the ball down the field, right? They're going to have a true number 1. So Kirk can go be the number 2, which he is. He's a number 2. And Ingram can be, your explosive yards after catch threat. You got ETN that can do that as well. But this game is proof positive of why they need Calvin Ridley. They need a number 1 receiver that can go down the field and win. I will say, though, if I can get a big ball to Kirk and a touchdown from Lawrence, at least I'll make money. I would accept that. If I can get $300 tonight from that, I'll be okay. I'm totally okay with garbage time, folks. Garbage time makes me money. All right. Where's Kirk? He's in the slot. Come on, Christian. Come on, Christian. Ooh. All right. Well, we're just heaving up prayers now. Not that I blame him, but that's where we're at. Yes, Calvin Ridley is a number 1 receiver. He is a number 1 receiver. For sure. With a bullet. He's older now because he came into the league as a quote-unquote old prospect. But he's still in the middle of his prime. He's like 28, 29, right? I think he's 29. So he's still in his prime. But when he's on the field, he is a number 1. All All right, there's Kirk again, getting me ever closer. There's a lot of people that bet KC at 8.5 that are really nervous right now. Oh, this is gonna crush people that took KC 8.5. Oh no! Oh no! I told you 8.5 was a trap. Oh, that's brutal. That's so brutal. All right, I gotta tweet that. I know I was wrong overall, but I gotta tweet that. That's so brutal. What a bad beat. That's like the worst beat of the year. All right, so we're doing onside kick here. I mean, the winning percentage has to be like, what, 0.001%? But I don't know. Never rule out Kansas City special teams from fucking something up, right? Basking in misery, aren't we? I mean, I was technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. Oh, weird bounce. And they got it. Yeah, game's over. Good season, Jags. Good season. Exceeded expectations. Played well for most of the year. Came back from a horrific start in the first half of the season, not of the game. Went on a run, beat some great teams along the way, beat Dallas. Good year. Good year for the Jags. Now, getting Calvin Ridley back is huge. Using that first round pick on, insert BPA here is huge. And they'll be back stronger next year, and I think they'll be back in the playoffs next year. So, golf claps for you, Duval. I look forward to coming out for a game at some point. Because I think the league is more fun when Jacksonville's good. And, KC, the planet killer rolls on, man. Quarterback can't run, can't move. He's like 50% of himself. And you still put up 27 points and win the game, right? All credit in the world to Chad Henne. Earned his salary in one drive. He really did. He earned his salary in one drive because that was the difference in the game. It's 27-20, right? So, huge. KC got a lot of bounces today. Mahomes injury notwithstanding, but that's football, man. Can't make mistakes. Can't fumble at the 6-yard line. Can't throw a pick. Can't fuck up like that. They'll be back. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We came close on our slip. I tweeted out the slip for game 2. There's still time to get in on that. If you guys are already on Underdog, you can just match it from there. If you're not already on Underdog, you can use promo code Brett, and they'll match your deposit up to $100 to give you even more money to play with, either for Giants, Eagles, or the games tomorrow, which we will be streaming tomorrow as well. I'll make sure to have slips ready to go for those 2 games. And then, what was I saying? Podcast. We're going to be doing the Bootleg Football podcast early this coming week. We're recording it on Monday to get our kind of little recap of these games and analysis of these games, and then previewing whoever's playing in the championship. And then we're going to Shrine Bowl, so a whole bunch of draft content coming from Shrine Bowl. We'll be there for a week in Vegas. Appreciate everybody who watched along today. I'll see you tomorrow, half hour before kickoff, the first game, whenever that is. And love you all. See you soon.